I'm live. Hello, world. Welcome to tonight, this week, tonight, even this right now, this moment here. I didn't get to play in my awesome intro because, okay, here's how this goes. Okay, so yesterday, oh my god, why can I never remember to fucking stop that before it does that? Anyway, all right, so here's how the story goes. The story goes, yesterday, if you were watching, we got enticed into playing the Miles Entertainment drinking game. We got pretty drunk on the stream. We finished the stream. We drank more. Bad decisions were made. I did not get up when I was supposed to today. We had a virtual Seder with some people in the middle of the afternoon, which means we didn't get to do our grocery shopping until after that. Jeff had to go do his stream, so I had to finish grocery shopping, and I was doing grocery shopping for my friends who are, in quarantine as well, because I'm a good fucking friend. And so then it got late, and dropping that stuff off. And now I'm here. So I didn't get to play in my intro. I'm late. It's terrible. I'm the worst. Blame yourselves, because y'all wanted me to drink last night. So anyway, I'm just going to blame you guys. So that's cool. Anyway, so we're just going to, check in with you guys, check in with the world, give everyone a minute to get here. And then we're going to bring in Go Big Boar or Go Home. He's our featured guest tonight. Again, he was so cool last week. We're bringing him back this week. He's going to teach us about guns. Lots of stuff about guns. So if you want to learn about guns, you're in the right place. And if you don't, stay anyway and learn about guns. So that's kind of what's up. Jeff is putting away all the groceries that I just single-handedly lugged up here by myself, and eating, because apparently he gets to eat and I don't. It's nice. I haven't eaten anything today. It's been super fun. Like actually nothing. Huh. Cool. It's fine. Anyway, thank you, Runs with Phantoms. Happy Pesach to all the rest of you. Hag Sameach. It's Passover. For those who don't know what that means, it's Passover. It's a great holiday. Tomorrow night, actually, we're going to do our official Passover stream. It's going to be fun. We're going to watch. If you were going to tell the story Passover via my drunk self from a year ago. It was exciting. That's kind of what's up. The coronavirus is still killing people. People are still dying. Everyone was like, oh, maybe it'll plateau. Ooh, let's see. Future projections are better than expected. Well, that's nice. Studies show the New York outbreak originated in Europe. Well, that's nice. There you go. Okay. So a lot of people, are still dead or still dying. There was a lot of dying today. So that's sad. And people are dead. So there you go. That's coronavirus updates for the moment. I know Hadass wants to join us, but she's also Jewish. So we're gonna see if she can join us, because I know she went to her parents' house for Pesach, because Pesach. And the story Passover with guns, that would been a very different story, one way or the other. So anyway, it's funny. I know that Go Big Boar Go Home is talking about dogs, but he just said we got 3 wieners here. That's funny. So right now you have 21 wiener dogs. That's a lot of fucking dogs. Or do you just have 21 hot dogs? Or do you just have 21 dicks in your house? I don't know. It's unclear. It's very unclear. Anyway, so that's the life. That's what's up. So let me get this link out to good old Go Big Boar or Go Home, and bring him on so we can talk about guns and stuff. And it'll be great. It'll be great. If you guys know of any other people who know about stuff that you'd like to know more about, let me know. We'll bring them on too. And if they're cool, we'll bring them back like we did. Wiener dogs are like potato chips. You can't have just one. So they tell me. I have none, so I should probably keep it that way, because I need to not have dogs right now, because even though I love dogs, I live in a studio apartment, and when I'm allowed to travel, I travel. So here we go. Yay. Welcome back. Okay, I'm just going to send you the link. And I think that's you. Is this the correct you? Yep. All right. Bam. Cool. All right, so our special guest, Go Big Boy or Go Home, has the link. He's going to be here any moment now. In the meantime, y'all can just press the like button and just, I don't know, be excited about life or something. Pet baboons are ill-advised, Jeffrey Nelson, because they do things like kill you. They're very good at killing you. Dixon Sider, thank you for the super chat. I'm trying to fund the Knight Rider replica, but can't go fund me. I'm saving as much as I can. Any suggestions? Once built, all funds go to charity. Well, that's wonderful.
I want to talk to KR Companion, who's the official. We're friends with the guy who's like officially in charge of like Knight Rider replicas and shit.
All right, apparently KR Companion's in charge of official Knight Rider replicas, so talk to him. Maybe he'll have some thoughts for you. Why can't you go fund me? You can set up things like, you know, a PayPal me account or a Cash App account or whatnot, and get that, you know, put it out directly for people, tweet it, send it, whatever, put it around Facebook and stuff like that. That's definitely an option. Jeff is in the kitchen. He'll be here soon. And we got our guests. But anyway, thank you, Dixon Sider, for the chat, the super chat, and good luck. But yeah, I would suggest maybe looking like Cash App, Venmo, even PayPal, you know, setting up designations for those and putting those out there, you know, places. That would be my recommendation if you're not using an official GoFundMe kind of thing. All right, and welcome back, Sean, #FireFart. So if you guys were here before, FireFart is a thing that Sean said out loud, and now it has stuck to him forever.
Might as well embrace it. That's how I look at it.
We appreciate that. We appreciate your good sense of humor. It's part of why you're back. So welcome back. Like I said, you know, let's see if we'll split screen us until Jeff gets here. No, that looks weird. This looks better. There's a cow in the background now, too.
There's nothing wrong with the cow. They taste good.
Cows are delicious. I love cows.
Absolutely.
This one is the emblem of my channel. So how have you been? How has your week been?
Week's been pretty good. The only thing is I sometimes have a little trouble sleeping, so I'm a little tired today.
I was just really drunk last night, so that definitely
I saw
the schedule as well. So yeah, you were present for that. That was exciting. Hi, Lando. Lando apparently wants to, you know, say hello.
Lando.
Hello, he says, and he's gone. He really only wants to be here on his terms and refuses to be here on anyone else's terms. It's
that's a cat thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's my most cat-like cat, I would say. The rest of them are kind of like dogs, except for Shit Pancake, who's just an asshole. So.
Oh, that reminded me. You wanted stories about Chili making trouble.
Yes, I do.
Oh boy. So we have a nickname for her. She's Chatty Chili.
Oh.
Because she loves to go outside and have conversations with every dog in the neighborhood. And there are times we go out there and I'm like, I can't hear anything. What is she? And it's like we get her to stop for a second and there's this faint bark like 200 yards away and she's just going.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, she's that dog that's convinced she's protecting us from everything. The mailman, the pizza guy, and that sketchy looking plastic bag outside.
Oh, that sounds like my cats actually, but they only protect us from things in the apartment because, you know, they live here. But they'll like lie on the bed and protect us, especially if they think we're feeling bad, like if we're sick or hungover or stuff. Especially Han will like sit on the edge of the bed and just guard you from the world. They're guarding against ghosts and demons and the like.
Oh yeah. And what's so funny with her too is that she seriously has this big personality. She's a little dog, and when we first got her, I remember as a puppy, I would hold her while the pizza guy comes up, and she just sit there and growling in my arm, and I'm like, he's bringing his food. What's wrong with you?
Oh,
she just and she's again 12 pounds.
Tiny. I will fight you.
I saw a question from Dixon Sider about the Desert Eagle.
There we are.
There we are. Yeah. My thoughts on the model. Desert Eagles are fun. I'm being honest in saying, you know, even if you talk to the guys at Magnum Research who make it, I mean, they're novelty guns. I mean, they're range toys. You know, you pick it up, you go to the range, you shoot it and have some fun, and then you bring it back home. I like them. I think they're cool. The only thing I find funny is when people are actually trying to claim you can use them for self-defense, which I thought that would be a joke, but I talked to the guys at MRI once and they're like, oh yeah, some guy called up and he's like, I got to make sure it's reliable. This is my everyday carry. I practically fell over laughing. I'm like, the thing weighs 5 pounds.
That seems ridiculous. That seems highly unnecessary.
It is. It is ridiculous, and it is highly unnecessary.
Yeah, that's like, hey, I'm gonna, I would like to kill this deer that is in my backyard. Let me launch a grenade at it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, do that.
No, the 50 Action Express really was designed so that they could say the Desert Eagle was the first semi-automatic 50 caliber Magnum handgun. I mean, that's what it's for. And I will be honest in saying I do know some people who will use it to hunt. You can hunt medium-sized game with it, like deer. My argument against that is if you want to hunt with a 50 caliber handgun, there's a lot better choices in caliber than the 50 Action Express. You can get something called 500 Linebaugh or 500 JRH or the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. All of those are more geared towards hunting. So, but I think they're fun. I think they're cool. They have an iconic look. And I did a video, I don't know if you saw this one, Jesse, about the top 5 big bore semi-automatic handguns. The only one that is really being mass produced and never went out of production is the Desert Eagle.
Oh.
So the others have all come and gone, or they're now trying to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit, I do think that there's one by a company called Wildy. I think that's a better like hunting pistol, but it's very expensive. It's almost $3,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, well, do I want to spend $3,000 on this when, for half that price, I could get a really nice Smith & Wesson that's fine tuned by their custom shop, So that's kind of, it's a lot of money if you want to drop it.
Yeah.
Which some people do. I'm not going to,
if that's your thing, if that's what you like.
Some people want a Ferrari, some people want a Wildy, especially.
Some people juggle geese.
I got to see that.
That's
I really want to see somebody juggle geese now that you mentioned that. I'm like, okay.
It's a line from an excellent TV show. Let's see if anyone in the chat knows what that is from. It is, and I love it. I think it's such a great. I do that with a lot of different things. Just these random expressions that are specific to certain shows. This particular show, I've pulled a lot of phrases from. But that's my version of "to each his own." Is some people juggle geese. So if anyone in the chat can tell me what that is from, bonus points. You can use them for stuff. Hottick's History Corner mentioned, I seem to always come when we're talking about guns. Well, hooray. Maybe you should just watch all the streams instead. Also, Hottick's, though, I did actually mention you the other day. I was thinking, since you're, history buff and into different various weaponry yourself, I would love to extend the invitation for you to come on and teach us a little bit about whatever subject you feel like talking about, because I know you are an expert in things. So yeah, just let me know.
By the way, Jeff brought this up, and I don't know if he can hear me from there on the High Council last night. They were talking about Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
And Mecca was like, maybe I should just choke him out. I just want to say I will pay good money to put Mecca with her riding crop in the octagon with Ezra Miller just to watch her choke him out.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
That would be incredible. I would be very excited to see that. So speaking of drinking, as I was doing earlier, I just realized something. So tonight's the first night of Passover. Happy Pesach for my people out there. And, for the rest of you, this is the day of the year that the Jews get to remember the time we were slaves, and be bitter about it. And,
sounds justified.
Yeah. So one of the things we do, because in Judaism, you may or may not know, we don't believe that the Messiah has come yet. We're still waiting on him. And so Passover, every year we put out Elijah's cup. Elijah is supposed to be the prophet that foretells the coming of the Messiah. So if if Elijah shows up, Messiah's on his way. So we leave a cup out for him as a peer. We open the door, and invite Elijah in and sing Eliyahu Hanavi and whatnot. Oop, James Baker got the answer to my reference. Nice. So we had to fill this cup with wine for him, and he didn't come. So I guess the Messiah ain't coming, at least not tonight. We'll fill it again for him tomorrow and the night after. But in the meantime, I'm just going to drink this. So that's,
Did you ever see, this may have been before your time, Jesse. When were you born? Roughly?
1990.
This, you would have been very little, but I was a teenager at the time because I'm pretty old. But in the 90s, Jerry Seinfeld was on Saturday Night Live, and they did a Passover skit where when they opened the door to let Elijah the Prophet in, and there's Jerry Springer dressed up as Elijah the Prophet.
Oh my God.
It was pretty good. It was pretty funny stuff.
If he was our prophet, I'd be very sad.
Understood.
So yes, that reference is a Firefly reference. Our Mrs. Reynolds, which is probably my favorite episode of the show. You join us?
Mhm.
All right, we got a Jeff. Yeah. Thank you for putting the stuff away.
I
He
really
got
wanted
to
an excuse to eat something.
Ooh, before you sit down, can you grab my pink slappers? Slappers.
I'll slap you.
Please don't. But yeah, our Mrs. Reynolds, Wash is talking about. He was like, I went to a planet where the entire pastime was juggling geese, little baby geese, goblins, if you will.
Anyone named Ryan?
And then and then later in the episode, he makes that reference. Some people juggle geese. Would you like to drink of Elijah's cup with me?
Sure. My first Passover, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I was
If
talking
anybody
about
notices a halo behind them, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll close the window so the halo doesn't affect the show.
But yeah. Hail Jeff. Thank you, Johnny.
Oh, Superfan Adam Shawhan's here. What is up, buddy?
Superfan Adam Shawhan is
And
here.
Sean, how you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. We just learned Superfan Adam Shawn has 21 wiener dogs.
Yeah, he.
It's a lot of wieners.
I hung out with him a couple times. He's a good dude.
Oh yeah.
I don't just.
wieners.
No, I didn't go that far.
Didn't meet any of his wieners. How
Well, he
sad.
comes to meet us at Horror Hound. He shows us pictures.
Teasing you.
He has a Facebook group about him.
And guys, if you are just joining us, please press the like button. Please
That'll age well.
Oppression. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing oppression right now. Today is my day to be oppressed. Okay, fuck the oppression Olympics that the SJWs. Today, my people are. We get to talk about how my people are oppressed. I found that being a Philadelphian and being Jewish are very well suited to each other. Not just because a lot of Jews in Philadelphia, but there's similar things in Judaism. You, especially during Passover, you don't talk about historical events. You don't talk about the story of Passover as it happened to these people thousands of years ago. You talk about it in the context of it happened to us, to me, to my people, which is very similarly to how Eagles fans talk about the Eagles. Our team, we did this, we beat these people and that people. So that sense of belonging is very important in my blood.
By the way, hi to Johnny and Clee, because you also said hail, and I didn't want to ignore you. So hello. I'm assuming it's Cleveland.
He pressed a like. Shapancake, stop! So things Shapancake has done that are terrible. Let's see. Knocked down almost everything off of those shelves, including my friend's food stamps card, which she took the leap of faith to lend to me because she's in quarantine and I've been shopping for her. So that is just missing in the apartment now.
Knocked down my $200 microphone.
Knocked down Jeff's very expensive microphone. He's currently, or was just trying to get at the jewelry and the face masks that are hanging on the wall. He's a jewelry thief. He'll pick up a necklace. And the thing is, he doesn't just knock it down and play with it where it is. He picks it up and walks around with it. So you don't know where the shit ends up. It's terrible.
Elsa's a sock thief.
Aww.
She does it so fast too. You'll be holding a whole load of whites. You'd be walking out of the laundry room, one drops, and she's of course right behind you because she knows you're carrying toys.
Zoop.
And yeah, you look down and see it, and then you go okay, and you turn, you put something down, and it's gone. She's gone. The only good thing is she always goes to the same place. She always takes it right to our guest room, which is where she likes to chew on her toys to be away from the other dogs. So we can always track her down, but it's just as soon as that hits the floor, it's like you just give up. You're just like, I'm going to have to train. Yeah.
Our various of our Newfies have been sock and underwear thieves. The thing with a Newfoundland, though, is they can fit the entire article of clothing in their mouth. So it is very difficult. And Oscar, the one my parents have now, is so spoiled because he knows basically anybody, anytime he takes something, if you want to get it back, he's going to get a treat. So he's learned, I take thing, I get treats. It's not the right, feedback loop. Jake, one of our ones that we had when I was growing up, he used to take socks and he could hide them in the back of his mouth under his tongue in such a way that you could pry his jaw open, stare into his mouth, even root around a little, and you wouldn't find it. And you're like, oh, I guess he didn't take a sock after all. He's just looking weirdly guilty. 2 minutes later, you see him over in a corner chewing on the sock. And
yeah, where did that come from?
Spit it out, and it was in his mouth the whole damn time. He had a big ass mouth.
Chili had a habit. When I remember telling you she was stubborn. So here's what she did one time when she got spayed as a puppy. She just couldn't stand the taste of the pain pill.
Oh yeah.
So we would try and put it in peanut butter, and she'd spit it right out. And I remember one time I literally put it in her mouth, and I tried to hold her mouth shut. and she just wouldn't swallow. Like you can literally see like a little bit of like white foam coming. I'm like, all right, I give up. So almost the entire time after she was spayed, she had no pain medication because she was so stubborn she wouldn't take it.
Oh, that sucks to suck.
It
Her
does.
loss. Mr. Another, thank you so much for the super chat. It's incredibly generous. I enjoy your videos. Sorry, this isn't much. It is a lovely amount, and it is wonderful and generous that you are giving in this time because all need it. So thank you.
So I got to ask Jeff if you get the joke on the shirt. Let me see if I can move a little closer to the camera here.
Oh, Dirty Harry.
Yes.
Of course.
It's a great movie.
So yeah, I made the shirt as kind of a gag for the channel, and I'm thinking I might actually put some shirts out. I haven't gotten around to it at this point, but that was kind of one of the gags I had was I started picking different calibers and making slogans for them.
Nice.
I have one called there's one called the 454 Casull, and it says making grizzly shit bricks since 1983.
Nice.
So
Hodgkins History Corner, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't get to watch the streams because you stream at 11 and I work at 5 a.m. Apparently you talk about guns when I have off work. Haha, I guess so. Hodgkins History Corner, thank you so much for the super chat. And shoot me a message next time when you know you're going to be off work sometime, and we'll bring you on as a guest because you know stuff and we like learning. And guess who we got?
Hi, all.
Hi, Das.
Here. Welcome. Happy Passover. Did you have a lovely
We did. You know how my dad just like rushes through
I'm proud.
the things that we can eat. So it went by lovely and quick.
Nice. Jeff had his first sort of Passover. It was very abridged on a Zoom call with like 12 people.
20.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And, Saturday when I FaceTime you for like your Passover, we'll go into detail and I'll drink juice.
No, yeah, we're gonna do it.
I was
We're gonna
promised
do it
copious
right.
amounts of wine.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
Jeff, have you had Manischewitz?
Yeah, it's right here. I don't love it.
Jessie has she always has an obscene amount of Manischewitz, and it makes me proud that I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were drinking Rashi. That stuff is so good.
So whatchamacallit, we saved the serious gun talk for you, Hadass. Before we jump into our educational endeavor, I did want to ask you, Sean. I don't know if you noticed he embraced the moniker Fire Fart, so we're very proud of him for that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But if you did get through the rest of Tiger King, and if so, if you could just highlight for us.
Speaking of Tiger King, look at my pants. I'm wearing the tiger pants.
I love it so much.
Are those Joe Exotic brand?
Yes.
I wish.
Joe
No.
Exotic should start a clothing brand.
No, the reason my mom got me when she was in Israel, and it's so comfortable.
So yeah, if you could just highlight for us, Sean, some of the ways. I mean, anything you want to talk about related to guns in that show. What kind of guns are they firing off? Are they being responsible in their handling of firearms? And what were some of their most egregious lapses in gun safety?
As far as being responsible, most of the time, no. No, they weren't. When it was just sitting in the holster, that's fine. It's just sitting there, leave it alone. I did see some issues with trigger discipline, which I'll explain what that means when we get into safety. And naturally, when Travis shot himself, that was horrific. I mean, even though we didn't see it, that was horrific.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I was thinking is, I know what he's talking about. Some firearms do have what's called a magazine disconnect. Mm-hmm. So when the magazine is out of the firearm, it won't go off. Mm-hmm. But it is not brand specific. So his assumption that, it's made by Ruger, it's not going to go off. No, that's a bad assumption to make. No, there are Rugers that have that, but there's Smith & Wessons that have that. So that was probably the biggest.
Oh my God! Yeah, no shit. Because my understanding about that was not actually, supposed to be suicide. That was an accidental discharge. Right. And yeah,
so I was on the fence on whether it was suicide or not because he was talking a lot about how miserable he was. So it was like it could have been on purpose. It could have been an accident. I couldn't tell honestly.
But it was also
I really hope it was an accident. I'm just going to say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's sad either way, but my understanding is that it was ruled an accidental death. In terms of when it was whoever investigated, whatever the police, determined it as an accidental death and not a suicide. And so it's both ways, because he was obviously very unhappy, but also he was apparently, as they said, given to that sort of showiness and waving the gun around and pointing it at the camera and stuff like that. So,
yeah. That was going to say the two things I specifically saw where I was just like, oh. The first one was when Joe has his revolver out and the cameraman's in front of him and he's pointing it at the cameraman. I think I don't have to say that, doing this with a gun is dangerous and stupid. And the first thing I was thinking is, God, I hope that's not loaded. And then he turns it this way and fires it. And I'm like,
You're like, whoops.
If he had stumbled and pulled that trigger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because as you said, we're talking about, trigger safety and stuff. His finger was on it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. I know that. I knows that that's not good.
And then the other one, I don't want to say I can kind of forgive, but it's a little more understanding in the sense that the guy was in a panic. And that was when the tiger grabbed him by the foot and was dragging him around the cage.
Yeah.
And he was firing the gun not at the tiger, but trying to scare it away.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest concern was the way he was shooting it. I'm like, that's a good way to have a ricochet, and then that's going to skip.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is going to sound weird. No, they're not made of rubber. They're made of lead, but bullets do bounce.
Can bullets bounce on grass, though? Because it was like dirt and grass.
Dirt. It was sandy, though. Yeah. It could have been harder.
It's going to depend on the angle and the hardness of the ground. I have been out in the desert here where it's very dry, and I have ricocheted bullets off of the ground. And naturally, the difference is I don't have people with cameras in front of where I'm shooting. I have a big, giant desert berm, so it ricochets right into basically the side of a hill. So it's safe. But yeah, that one scared me a lot because I was like, God, it's going to take is just one to hit the ground at the right angle, and someone's going to get hurt. And I'm not 100% sure what he had, but it looked to me like it might be a Ruger GP 100, which would be a 357. That's very powerful. If you get hit with that, it's going to be a problem, regardless of where. So,
it really impresses me how much you know about guns. I get really even if it's a subject I either don't agree with or don't really care for, I'm always impressed when someone knows what they're talking about. I'm like, good for you.
Well, thank you. Having the channel, I really kind of dived into it heavy because I was like, I don't want to get on the internet, not know what I'm talking about, and then end up like the guy who I made fun of because he was like, oh, well, if you look at this song called Mechanics, clearly Dave Mustaine stole that from Megadeth. No, he wrote that song from Metallica. He wrote that song when he was with Metallica. Metallica stole it from him and renamed it. They called it the Four Horsemen. And so, reading that, I'm sitting there making a comment going, so do you research any of this shit or do you just, wing it?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be that guy who's like, oh, well, this isn't true. And then some people are like, no, that is true.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely important to know your shit. I've been called out on that a couple of times myself. And I think one of the best things, you got to own it when you fuck up. But it's better to know your shit and don't fuck up in the first place.
It's crazy, though. I've seen you before you've done your videos and all that. You do a lot of research.
Thank you.
The time.
Thank you. Well, and I do because,
Jessie.
Oh, sorry.
I watched her before her thing. But I'm sure you do all your research, too. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
watched you before, during, and after your tapings and all that.
Well, that is true. Cool. My question is sort of related to the Joe Exotic stuff before we dive into the more stuff. What's like the ratio? Okay, so there's people who are raised kind of always having guns as part of their lives. They learn to handle it when they were little kids, etc. There's other people who learn about it, come into it later, come into it on their own, sort of generate an interest organically. And then some people don't get into it much later. Some people who are more casual users and things like that. Of that group, is there a split in that group of people like, you're raised with it. It's like it really, really well. Is that the type of person who's typically more like has internalized the safety rules as well, or are those people who tend to be more cavalier, or does it really just depend on what your education with it was?
I can't speak. I think it depends on what your education was with it. I was I was introduced to firearms at the age of 9 because, to make a long story short, my dad wanted to get a gun at one point. My mom forbade it. But again, living near a big city, I can give you the exact scenario that changed her mind. And this is a true story. Not too many neighborhoods away from where we live when we were living near DC, a guy had broken into a house where it was a woman and her 2 children, and he made her watch as he killed her children. Oh, God. After that, my mom was like, I have no problem with it now because nobody's going to hurt my kids. That's really what changed it for her. So one of my dad's friends, actually, who was one of the Little League coaches, was also a DC cop. And I still think he gave my dad the best advice I've ever heard about children and guns, which is you either tell them everything or you tell them nothing. But anything in between is going to make them curious. It's going to make them try and, look at it when you're not around. So you either tell them everything or you don't tell them anything. My dad opted for making sure we knew what was going on and for taking it very seriously and so on and so forth. But we were definitely raised with the concept of safety as being paramount. I have met some people who they've been around it so much and have never been taught to be cautious, shall we say, and they're a little too cavalier for my taste.
Yeah.
But I've also met people who just came right into it, and the best way to put it is, and Jeff, you'll probably recognize the term. They're an armchair expert. They're what do they call it? A Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and I've had people literally walk up to me and tell me things, and I'm just polite. I don't say anything. And I've had other people tell me things and they're flat out wrong. And I have tried to correct them, but of course, they know.
Of course.
They know. And I'm not saying I'm like the ultimate guy. There's stuff where people will tell me something. I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. On the video I just put out, I had a guy who said, well, actually, this whole cartridge really started way back when John Browning was still alive, and he was working on something called the 9.8 millimeter. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So I've also been very fortunate that I actually found a forum where a lot of actual gun authors who have been writing for decades hang out.
That's cool.
And so I've been able to pick their brains a few times and get some of that information, which has been very helpful.
Neat. That's really cool. Beth, thank you for the super chat. Sorry I'm late. I was watching Grand Tour. I guess we'll forgive you. We're just happy that you're here. Also, guys,
a smart car emoji? That's a terrible thing to get a Grand Tour.
Give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back.
Of course. If you are just joining us, make sure you do press that like button. We got 65 watching, only 40 likes. We always like that like ratio to be higher than the viewers, so make it happen. Did you have any for when Sean comes back? Do you have any questions you wanted to add regarding Joe Exotic? Any thoughts?
No, I think right now with Joe Exotic, I'm waiting for the next episode. I'm kind of like the jokes and the memes are great. You send
them to us constantly, and I love you for it.
It's so good. Oh God, what was the one?
I was in tears laughing. It was a crazy thing. I sent you that like beautiful thing about it being your first Passover, and I was expecting like a lovely message back, and no,
thank you.
It's we deserve.
Yeah. So Hadass text. We have a group text between the three of us. Well, we got a puppy dog. Pause for puppy dog.
Oh my God.
This is Chatty Chili.
This was important. Thank you for bringing Chili.
Oh,
Chili like the meat, or chili like the pepper?
Like the pepper.
Okay.
Yeah. She's it's kind of hard to see on camera, but let me see if I can lift her up a little bit. There you go. She's a very dark red.
Oh, she's so pretty.
I love her.
So that's how she got her name.
I love her little face. Look, Lando, it's a dog. Lando's looking now. There's another dog. That's fine. He'll be comfortable.
Oh yeah, that's Pecan in the background.
My Pecan. Oh,
yeah,
Actually, you went down.
right? Chili, Pecan, and what's the third one?
Elsa. And now we're gonna watch his Chili.
Let it go. If Elsa shows up, we'll sing for her. What was I gonna say? Oh,
Let It Go is more of a taunt for her.
So Hadass sent happy first Passover, Jeff. As much as it sucks that Corona is in the way of how it's normally celebrated, it's still a big deal. You get to celebrate it. Hag Sameach, which means happy holiday. And so Jeff replies with a lovely hand-drawn image of that bitch Carol Baskin, and it says, "If you're having man problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 tigers, fed my husband to one." I enjoyed that a lot. All right. So now that we've covered that, all right, so we sort of asked you to come back and give us sort of an intro how to guns. Now, when this is all over, I'd love to take a trip out to Arizona and, actually do a collaboration with you. That'd be amazing.
Sure.
But obviously for now,
please don't shoot me.
You can come if you want and shoot other things.
But please don't shoot me, Jesse. I know I get on your nerves, but
I'm not gonna shoot you, okay? I might stab you, but I'll never shoot you.
Fine.
Oh, well, that's reassuring.
I can handle for you, but a shoot that's like it's a bit much.
The only time I would ever shoot you is if you needed me to help you fake an injury so you could get out of something. Like, oh no, I'm late for work because I got shot in the foot.
I feel like my reasons for getting shot in the foot would be very just like I don't feel like going to a party. Jesse, shoot me in the foot.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to oblige.
I told people at work, like, I promise not to sue you. Can you push me off this ladder? And it still hasn't happened.
Darn. Oh, I think we might be getting another pupper Joe. This is my puppy dog cat who's drooling slightly.
Are you hungry again?
No.
Sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine. We forgive you. We were hoping for another pupper Joe, but you let us down.
Sorry. We'll find Elsa and we'll scrounge her up later.
Yay. So we asked you to come and sort of give us a little, like, for someone who's just getting into guns, give us an intro tutorial, what we should know, what we need to know, whatever you'd tell to people. So background wise, if the three of us wanted to share our, obviously, Sean Firefart is the expert. I've shot a few times. I've shot a handful of different weapons, most of which I remember what they were, but it has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never personally owned a firearm. Jeff, what's your background with guns or your level of interest or whatever?
Level of interest is there, just no experience.
Hey, did you actually send the Blu-ray out to Kendo so he could shoot it with his Glock 21?
Oh, the Force or the Last Jedi?
Yeah.
We ended up microwaving it at our Airbnb. Dude, it like lit up and then Kendo elbow dropped it like a fucking wrestler. It was hilarious.
Awesome. I did shoot mine.
Yes.
I shot it with a caliber called the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum.
Yeah. Blow apart.
Oh man.
The first shot went right through it, and then I put it on the ground so it would have more of a kind of an explosive effect, and then it was shards.
Nice. Yeah, we were at Ethan's place when he burned his copy of The Last Jedi. It was exciting.
Yeah.
Hi, Bush Cat. Hi, Baby Cat.
So who wants attention now?
This is Han. Han Solo wants some love. Really, Han Solo wants food because my schedule got all backlogged and whatnot. He hasn't had his dry food yet today, and he's very
Gotcha.
Well,
I don't know if cats are like our dogs, but we feed them about the same time every day. And somewhere around, 3 hours before then, any move towards the kitchen and they're like, dinner?
So Han is our biggest boy, and that's not just in size. He does have these massive, adorably massive paws. Look how big his paws are. He really hates
He's like, I don't want to.
Like, but he's also our chubbiest boy. He's not a proper fat cat, but you can see a little belly going on. You can see
Also the oldest.
Huh? He is the oldest.
Yeah, you've had him the longest.
Yeah. So he's going to be 8 this September. And come here, buddy. It's okay.
Can we have a birthday party for Han?
We should. We can have a joint one for him and Lando because they were born close to the same time.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
And
Ashley got a birthday cake for Chilean pecan last year.
Oh, we've been talking it.
There's a barkery here.
Ha!
So she bought a little cake, and boy, were they excited about that, let me tell you.
Oh, weren't we talking about getting little cakes for the littles when they turn a year old?
Bow ties.
Oh, we were gonna get them bow ties. I thought we were gonna get little kitty cakes.
Oh my gosh, I want to be there for that birthday since like I was there when you brought them.
You should be. Oh my god, we'll have a little birthday party for them. So
we should take the cake for Ship Pancake and knock it on the ground.
Oh, we should. It's like, get your cake, boom, and just knock it all over the place and
yeah, that's what you do to my cake.
Fuck you, bitch.
He does it with birthday food.
Dr. Coffin-Nails, thank you for the super chat. I have learned more from Jesse's streams in the last week or so than in 6 months of so-called real media. Thanks, Jesse. You are welcome, Dr. Coffin-Nails. It's my pleasure. I do the disseminating of the information so you guys don't have to. As many of you know, what I recommend and what I believe in doing myself is looking at multiple sides of an issue, whenever possible, going to the source. So if someone's writing a piece about so-and-so said this or did this, I want to go to the source of what they said. I want to hear both sides of any issue and sort of piece together the truth based on as many facts as I can find out. So when I present information to you guys, that's what I've done. I haven't just read CNN or Fox or any other, single outlet. I verify, I fact check before I'm going to come out and say it. We had that, the other week where only one site had talked about CBS using the fake footage, or not the fake footage, but the footage from Italy, pretending it was New York or acting like it was New York. I wasn't willing to call that fact because only one site reported that. And the next day, when all the other sites, multiple other sources came out and said this, and CBS had to own up to it, then if that's fine. But you'll never get bullshit from me. That's his job.
Unless it's mindless bullshit.
There you go. And that's
I was going to say, I love watching the world-class bullshitters. I just want to say this, and I mentioned this on one of my videos, that, everybody in the Fandom Menace, and that includes you as well, Jesse, everybody, the last year was kind of a rough one, and you guys just kept me laughing and, having a good time. So
we aim to please.
So there's been actually times where I'm sitting there and I'm trying to be quiet because, Ashley's asleep, and literally I'm listening to a podcast. I'm like,
oh, well,
I'm just like, God, don't laugh out loud.
We do what we can. You're right, Adam Shawhan, superfan Adam Shawhan. It is world-class bullshit. So I just wanted to share.
It bothers me that everyone spells Jeff's name wrong.
Yeah.
You mean accurately?
No. Here, I'm gonna show you how to properly spell Jeff.
I gotcha.
Uh-oh.
That is the proper way to spell Jeff.
It's on the screen for you. This is how Jeff is spelled according to Hadas. And she won't actually recognize. She will not recognize if I type her anything that's not this. She won't recognize it. She'll be like, "Who are you talking about?" It's
but to be fair, I've had so many nicknames for Jeff.
That's true.
Corpse Man.
It was Hicks Kebab, and then the Corpse,
which became Corpse Man.
I never understood Corpseman, but Hicks Kebab was always cool.
Oh, because Jessie was in her honeymoon phase, and she was like, "Isn't my boyfriend just so handsome?" And I was like, "He looks like a corpse," just to make her upset, and then that just stuck.
He's very handsome. Ted White, thank you for the super chat. This one.
Ted Davis High School football rules.
Thank you, Ted White.
I'm trying to show the audience a picture. You're talking about spell my name wrong. Here's what I'm trying to show.
The cake.
Yeah, but for some reason my phone's trying to double. Hold on, let me just wipe my screen off.
So the reason I wanted to show.
There we go.
There we go.
Just that.
This was the lovely cake that Kelly made as a welcome.
And Hadas, I was cleaning up the other day, and I found the letter you wrote me. We put it in a special box.
Aww.
So I just wanted to share. I told Jeff there was I picked out a few cheeses for us because we like cheese a lot, and there's one called San Joaquin Gold that I picked out because the description is as follows: an Alpine-style cheese from Modesto, California. San Joaquin Gold is mild, sweet, and buttery when young, but like Hulk Hogan, it gets stronger and nuttier as it ages.
Yeah,
that he does.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Brother.
That's why I got this cheese. Let's hope that it's good.
Send me that picture.
Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. Jeff, I know you're going to understand this one straight up. As I was watching The Tiger King, I couldn't help but feel that, what was his name? Jeff Loomis?
Jeff Lowe.
Jeff Lowe. God, he's like the Vince Russo of the Tiger world. I mean, seriously.
He is skeevy and slimy.
Yep, and he goes in, he stabs people in the back, then he talks about how it's all them, it's not me, and of course he's the one who just comes in and screws everybody over and expects them to do all the work.
Aw,
did you know about Vince Russo getting locked out of his own website?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, this is so funny. I heard it from Jim Cornette, so I went and looked it up. And he basically hired a guy to run his website, and he wasn't paying the guy anything to do it. And so he kept saying, he's like, look, you're going to have to start paying me, or, you're going to have to find somebody else. And so literally he emails him back and says, listen, bro, bro, if you want to be working for me, bro, he really talks this way, guys. If you haven't seen it, this is realistically how he talks. I swear to God, I want people who are here for the project. They need to be dedicated. This was his response to not paying him. And then, so what the guy did is he changed all his passwords and locked him out of the website.
Yeah.
Delightful.
That's amazing.
Beth,
Russo.
Beth figures that she's a cheese enthusiast. We should have a cheese stream, Beth. We should have a cheese stream where we just eat and talk.
We should get, I mean, if Cheesemongers is still open, we should get like platters, each of us, and just like eat cheese.
You do curbside service, so we could ask them to put together cheese platters for us and pick them up and have cheese. So Hadass, we have to ask you, what is your level of knowledge, experience, and or interest in guns?
I mean, I have never shot or held a gun. I've been in the presence of guns. When I was in high school, I had a very sketchy group of friends, and one day they're like, "Do you want to see our gun collection?" And it was like an armory in that house, which was terrifying. I think the house burned down at some point. I don't remember. Yeah. But that is like the extent of it. Just seeing guns, but never touching or dealing with them.
And with sketchy people.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, it's so funny. I don't do like, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't do any, or like other than smoking weed, but like I've always been, you know, kind of boring. And in high school, like all my friends were drug dealers. And I'm just like, okay, do you?
I knew people from the other high school. They were all friends with the kids who were dealing weed and stuff like that. Not much harder than that, but yeah, it was. I knew people who knew the sketchy people. Let's put it that way.
I knew the sketchy people, and I would hang out with them, and they would offer me drugs, but I never took them.
I was offered drugs many times before I graduated from high school. It was an adventure, and I also never took them.
I'm amazed we are the same person.
We are. It's beautiful.
Kind of scary.
What was I going to say? It reminds me of my friend at a very chill bachelorette party, just at another friend's house. And we were all like a little tipsy and stuff. And before we left, my friend's dad was like, "Hey, Jesse, I hear you like guns." I don't even know how it came up, but he's like, "Let me show you my guns." He just pulled out like a duffel bag full of guns and was like, "These are my guns." And I was like, "Cool. I had no idea you had all of these guns. That's insane. I'm intoxicated. Stop handing me guns." So
one thing I will say is I mean, obviously not now because I'm not on them anymore, but when I was on online dating, the profiles, whenever you see a guy with a gun, it's like an automatic red flag.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's just so fucking scary how they like pose with them.
Yeah.
Like, you could kill me.
Yeah. Sean's got one for you there. Dude. Just like that. You see that? Don't date. Rosetta Allen, thank you for the super chat. Hope you're doing awesome, sweetie. Thank you. I hope you're doing well too. I know you've had it rough a little bit lately, but it's good to hear from you. And it's been crazy over here, but you know, we're still alive. So I hope you are doing all right out in your neck of the woods. Whatchamacallit. All right, so Sean, kick us off. You know, let us know in chat if you guys have questions at any point, or you want to chime in and add anything in. Go for it. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat, and we're just going to learn about guns from the guy who knows things, Mr. Firefart himself.
Hey, you know, when you fire, you learn a lot. Hadass, if you have questions as we go along, go right ahead.
I will.
Okay. One of the things I do want to say is, like, and I had made this point, really can't be too safe. That's a big thing to me. The people are saying, stop being so worried about being safe. You know, they're going to hurt themselves or maybe you. So just, you know, move along. But there is a point where you can be a Karen about it. And I'm being dead serious. And I'll give you kind of an example. It's a good practice when you go to the range and you shoot to come back home and clean your firearms. Now, this is not the days of black powder where the black powder would corrode your firearm. And if you didn't clean it, you would essentially ruin it. So if you don't clean it right away, it's not a big deal. But if you, say, haven't cleaned it in 30 or 40 years, you're probably going to cause a problem with the firearm. But I've had people who, like, you know, someone's like, "Do you clean it every time you go to the range?" I'm like, "Usually." "Well, isn't that dangerous?" Stop being a Karen. And I'll give you a perfect example. And this is actually something I was going to use this. Now, before you guys see this, I want to stress, Ashley really wanted me to show the firearms she uses.
Oh, yeah.
Because she wanted to show
them pink, because I really like when people have pink guns. Yay!
She has a pink hoe grip on it.
That makes me happy. Thank you.
So, and she has a little bit of a slide plate there.
Oh,
love it.
So, but the reason why I wanted to show specifically, this is a Glock 17. And one of the reasons why I brought that up, especially with the cleaning thing, is Glocks, for example, were designed in Austria for the Austrian military. They were designed specifically to be reliable. That's kind of like their claim to fame. In the 90s, there was an article in Guns and Ammo. This guy said, I'm going to test this. I'm just not going to clean it. I'm going to see how long it takes it to jam. So I'm going to ask you guys, how many rounds do you think this guy put through the gun before it jammed once?
304.
Jeff?
562.
Hadas?
Over 1,000.
You're the closest. 33,000 rounds.
Wow, that's incredible.
Oh, shit.
And then it was a minor speck of dirt that was in the chamber that prevented a round from chambering, which he brushed out and went away. So when people are like, oh, you're going to make a malfunction. Yeah, 33,000 rounds and it didn't jam. So, again, like I said, be safe. Don't be Karen. That's kind of how I'm trying to explain it. But
When you say Karen, do you mean like that joke about Karen who complains to the manager?
yes.
Okay.
These are the people.
Blonde mom who's going to complain to the manager and tell you exactly why you're doing everything you're doing wrong.
Okay.
Right.
So be Karen. I'll write that down.
No, don't be Karen.
So be Karen.
Okay. Glad we got that.
Welcome to Hadas. Welcome to the wonderful world of Hadas.
If I'm not difficult, I'm not me.
I just like to it's true. I'd like to point out there are 69 people watching. That's the sex number. And
Yes.
if you are one of those people watching, make sure you're also pressing the like button. Make sure we get at least 69 likes, preferably 100. And thank you for the super chat, Rosetta Allen. Your birthday fuzz sister is still hanging in, 16 and stubborn as all get out. Aw, I miss everyone but had to rest, doing tons better and streaming more. That's fantastic. One of Rosetta Allen's cats has the same birthday as me. She's a nice old gal, which makes me hope because I want my boys to live to a ripe old age as well. And she just had a major cross-country trip recently and, has been dealing with all of that and all of her stuff. So
I hope Chip Pancake never dies.
Yo, you big English forever.
I'd be sad because I know Han's going to be the first one.
Most likely. Well, it could be Lando. He's got a lot of health issues. He has most health issues.
I will care no matter which cat goes first, but I hope it's not Han. It'll be the saddest when he goes because he's just kind of like he's just the most inoffensive cat.
He's a wonderful. He's my little puppy dog.
Best cat. Out of all your cats, he's definitely the best one.
He sits and stays on command. It's great.
Oh, you have him. You can make him roll over. Like,
yes, he does. He can roll over on command too. It's pretty excellent.
He did poop on me once though.
It was by accident.
Did you deserve it? I feel like you might have.
No, I was sitting here working and he went to jump and he had an accidental spray and I was like, "What the fuck?" So I jumped in the shower. I was so pissed.
That reminds me just real quick, Chili, of course, because I don't know why, but when my dogs throw up, my whole house is tile, but they will go to their bed and throw up there.
Yep.
The whole house is tile, but they go to the one thing I have to wash. And there's one day in particular, and I loved Ashley's reaction to it. Chili started heaving, and I'm like, no, get away from your bed. And she, as soon as I let her go, she goes right over the bed. Blah! Just throws up. And then I'm like, okay, well, at least that's over. And then she walks over to her other bed and throws up in the other bed.
Oh God!
Ours is pretty random when they do it on the the tile in the kitchen, on the carpet in here, other places.
But they always eat it.
Well, that's one of the advantages of having four of them. One of whom
What happened?
One of them will throw up, and another one will come and eat it. Usually before we can even get around to
Han
cleaning
eats
it.
puke.
Han loves to eat puke. It's food to him.
Hadas was
Hooray.
here for that one.
It was disgusting.
I didn't want to see it, so I turned the other cheek.
And
I don't
then
blame you on
clapped
that
the
one.
other cheek. So
Ashley's response to Chili's behavior was, yeah, that's my dog.
Podcast Disregard, thank you for the super chat. To give a visual, 30K rounds are 1,875 reloads if it's a 16-round magazine. That is an insane amount of rounds fired. So that means, yes, reloading your gun nearly 2,000 times and firing off the full mag. So.
Be a little less. It's a 17-round mag.
Oh, well, there you go. But still, well over 1,000 reloads.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane. And another super chat from Rosetta Allen. Thank you, darling. Got 700 subs and 2,800 hours tonight getting there. Well, keep trucking along. Keep getting those subs.
What do you need? 4,000 hours, right?
4,000 hours and 1,000 subs, I think. So keep getting there, guys. Go ahead and subscribe to Rosetta Allen. She does wonderful painting. She has beautiful nature photography. And she's a rabid defender of the fandom menace. So throw that out there. All right, and press the like button on this channel too because I said so.
Yes.
So we have 69 likes. The sex number.
So again, going back to the safety though, but just the biggest thing is, I do find people who are new to guns will have a lot of anxiety about handling them, and it's understandable because I know this is going to sound really bad, but yes, the media has basically made you believe that this thing is going to jump up off of the table and shoot me right now. All by itself. All by itself.
Magic.
Not going to happen. It's honestly, unless you've seriously misused it and dropped it in a certain way, and some firearms you can do whatever you want. Actually, Glock is one of them. The way they're designed, you're not going to have an accidental discharge. It's not going to happen. Yeah. That's the new military. I don't know if you guys saw this. The new military SIG P320 had a bit of an issue.
Oh
yeah. That'll be a story for another day because that's too long to get into. And they've more of what I was frustrated is instead of doing a recall, they did a voluntary upgrade.
Okay.
So they could say, see, there's nothing wrong, but if you want, we'll upgrade it so it won't do that.
That sounds responsible.
Meanwhile, and I'm just bringing this up because the name Ruger came up. Ruger had made a new version of their 22 pistol called the Mark IV that was supposed to have the magazine. I forgot the name. Anyway, when you drop the magazine, it's not supposed to go off. They found there could be a flaw that could set the firearm off when you put in the magazine. Nobody got hurt. Well, you had to be holding the trigger, and then if you put the magazine in, it could go off. But here's the thing. They found the flaw. They told everybody and said, please send your firearms back to us. Call us. We'll pay to ship it back. We'll fix it. We'll send it back to you. No cost. Notice the difference response there. They're just like, no. We do not want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We don't want people getting hurt. That's how life is supposed to go.
Logan Michael at 22 is far too little unless you're hunting squirrels.
Yeah, so that's a super different Logan Michael. And Michael Bob says, what do you recommend for home self-defense? I have a Ruger 22 rifle. However, I'm not sure if it's too much or too little. So too little is the answer from Sean. Firefart, what would you recommend for home self-defense?
There's a lot of different calibers you can go with. You want to find something that, number one, you're comfortable with. So when you shoot it, it doesn't recoil too hard. You can control it, get the gun back on target if you have to fire more than once. But you also want something that's decently potent. Really, I wouldn't go below a 380 is what it's called. But 9mm is obviously the most common. It's about as ubiquitous as, vanilla ice cream these days. So 9's a good place to go. There's also 40 Smith & Wesson. There's 45 Auto. There we go with Superfan Adam Shawhan. Self-defense 9mm is a good way to go. As a matter of fact, the Ashley's Glock 17 is a 9mm. So
I have a question. When you say a gun is potent, what does that mean?
When it's what?
Potent.
Okay. It's effective enough to actually stop the person you're trying to shoot.
Okay.
Now, like I said before, the goal isn't, if this isn't, we're not out to kill the person. We just don't want them to kill us. That's the point. Actually, Ron's got a good point. A 12 gauge shotgun is good home defense. If you hit somebody, you're not going to, if you point that at someone, you're not going to miss. Because a shotgun shoots, a wad of shot. So this is why it's used for bird hunting. They shoot out pellets of various sizes. And so if you shoot in someone's general direction, chances of missing are pretty slim. The other thing I like about 12 gauges is that if you have a pump action one, when you rack that slide, it is immediately obvious what you just did. And thieves know what that sounds like. And usually that sound is a good deterrent and people will leave if they hear it.
Yeah.
Because they know that if you point a shotgun at them and pull the trigger, it's not going to miss.
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
the plug 78. If you're hunting Sasquatch, you want something bigger than 9mm. Probably true. All right. So we have a different opinion.
You're hunting with Sasquatch.
If you're hunting with Sasquatch, you just let him do the damage. Our hard to says a 22 totally will. 22 mag does a surprising amount of damage. It also has so little recoil you can fire multiple shots without having to readjust. All right. Respond, Sean, because your feeling was that it is not enough for home defense. So how do you feel about?
Well, 22 mag and 22 long rifle are not the same cartridge. 22 mag is definitely better. As far as 22 long rifle, I'll share, and this is a story from Mas Ayub. So if anybody wants to find out if I'm, just making stuff up or not. Mas Ayub was a former police officer. He went into firearms defense, wrote several books, several articles. He was talking about cop pulls over a guy in a neighborhood, When he comes out of the car, he attacks the officer. He's attacking the officer. A good Samaritan comes out with a 22 long rifle with 10 shots in it. He shoots the guy 10 times, does not stop him. He ends up having to literally turn the rifle around like a club and hit him over the head with it to get the guy to stop.
I feel like I've heard this story before.
Now, truth be told, the guy ended up dying of blood loss when the ambulance got there. But once again, it's not effective if he's still beating the officer. So
Yeah.
The problem with 22 isn't that it can't work, but it is going to depend on where you hit somebody. And I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to use my size. I'm not slim and petite. And if you shoot me in the stomach with a 22, it may not penetrate enough to actually reach my vital organs. It doesn't have a lot of power behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer Hadassah's question about what does it mean to be potent, there is a muzzle energy factor that we will calculate that can kind of help. For example, 9 millimeters, I think roughly, I'm going by memory, I think it's around 325 foot-pounds, which sounds like a lot, but it's not a ton, but it's good for self-defense. But with the 22 Magnum, by the way, would be a little more effective because it's going at a greater velocity, which allows it to be a better penetrator. I'm just not comfortable with it as a form of self-defense, but it is better than no gun. You know, if somebody's coming at you with a knife and you have your bare hands or you have a 22, I would use the 22.
Mm-hmm. Especially if your aim is good.
What's that?
Especially if your aim is good.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's a lot of preference. I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of my favorite jokes is if you ever want to ruin a thread on a gun forum,
mm-hmm.
just go in there and just say, 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson suck. 45 is the only great defense around. And then you can just sit back and watch the flames. It will burn itself down. There are 9 guys, 40 guys, and 45 guys. And all of them are convinced that the other 2 suck and their choice is the only one to work. And you might as well have just walked in and said, you guys are all married to sluts. I mean, it's really intense. They will get so nasty that eventually that thread gets locked down.
I have heard from the people I've talked to, have all said that when it comes to things like self-defense and whatnot, and just use in general, a 45 is overkill and you can have just as much effectiveness with a smaller round. So, or
my honest opinion on that
kind of round. Yeah.
Bullshit.
All right.
I was going to say, first of all, 45 is not overkill.
Mm-hmm.
45, you're going to about maybe 400 foot-pounds of muzzle energy.
Uh-huh.
So it's not a lot bigger. But unlike the 9mm, the 45 does most of its job by having a heavier bullet.
Yeah. So
it's a bigger bullet that's got a lot more weight to it. And are just going to sit back and actually, he's probably right. But the 9mm of today
mm-hmm.
is sufficient in most cases. But that's because, if we go all the way back to the 80s when hollow points were first being developed, they didn't reliably expand.
Hollow points was that bullet you showed me, right?
Yeah, that opens up.
Okay.
So they didn't reliably expand. So basically it ended up being like you were shooting just what we call ball ammo, which is full metal jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have a good effectiveness rating. These days, when you are able to go ahead and have them open up more, you really, I'll put it this way, the difference between, say, like a 45 and a 9mm has gotten very narrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to say a 45 is overkill, I'll put it to you this way, them's fighting words to me.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you are the big bore guy, so I assume
well, and it's also, I think, a misunderstanding of how it works. And it's just because, as far as what is sufficient, I mean, if he's going to say, well, a 45 is overkill, I mean, but if you were carrying a revolver and you wanted a 357, that has way more power than a 45. It's just a smaller bullet.
Yeah.
So again, in what way is it overkill? 45 would work, 40 works, 9 works, 10mm works, 357 works, 38 special can work. I'm not a fan. I think it's very underpowered. It was designed originally around black powder.
Uh-huh.
And black powder works very different than modern propellants. And so it didn't have a lot of oomph behind it. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason the 45 became kind of a big known stopper is back in, the 1800s, you had a ball of lead. That was it. It was lead over black powder. Mm-hmm. And when you shot a 38 that had reduced capacity for that powder, it didn't put as big of a hole in your target. And thus, if you're in the military, that's a problem. You're trying to stop somebody and you're down to your handgun. So they went back to the 45. As a matter of fact, when they first went to a semi-automatic pistol, they originally started out with the Colt automatic pistol. I think it was 1900 in what's called 38 ACP. And they were not pleased. And somebody let it slip to Colt that they were looking for a 45. And so they reached out to John Browning, who developed the 45 auto cartridge in 1905. Almost at 2005.
And then much, much later, Afro Man wrote Colt 45.
Yes.
We had a question here. Runs with Phantoms was asking about is a slug a good round to halt somebody without lethality? Hawtricus's History Corner's answer was no. A slug will just rip right through a human being.
Yeah.
So that is not a good non-lethal option.
Because a slug is a type of gun.
A slug is specifically a round used in a shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought your fans were making jokes like putting slugs in there instead of bullets.
No, so
honestly, I was like, wow, they're really in on the joke.
So I'll let you take this one since you know things. But slugs are different from.
Slugs are very powerful. I mean, it's essentially like a musket ball size. It will just go right through a person. If you're intending on stopping them, it'll do that. I personally, if I was going to use a shotgun, I would want to use buckshot. That's just my 2 cents, because that's kind of the point of having it.
Yeah. So the difference, buckshot sprays, a slug is one bullet basically that goes through it.
Yeah. Think about buckshot or birdshot, because basically it's just a size difference.
Yeah.
But think about shot in general as just basically different sizes of BBs. That's essentially what it is. And a slug is basically they take a bullet, essentially, that can be shot out of a shotgun. And there is good reason to use them for certain things, especially if you're, worried about like defense against a bear. It definitely is going to make a big difference.
What about against the dark arts?
Against the dark arts, I would actually attend Hogwarts or perhaps the Jedi Academy on that one, because I don't think a gun's going to do you any good.
That's probably true.
Question.
That's Beth almost had her toilet overflow. That's good to know.
Oh no.
No. She also, I don't know if you saw earlier, she's getting another ferret and she's gonna name it Bubblegum. So I just
know. Cute.
Someone mentioned that birdshot will typically not kill an intruder. I don't know how true that is, but birdshot typically isn't going to penetrate as well, because again, you've got these very little BBs. And the question is whether or not you hit somebody in the chest. Yeah, see, buckshot is going to be larger. The whole point of buckshot and why it was created is back in the 1800s, when you're living out on the prairie and you weren't exactly rich and you couldn't afford to have more than one firearm, you'd get a shotgun, and then you'd load it with bird shot to go get your quail and to get your duck and your geese. And then if you wanted to shoot a deer, you used buckshot, because the bird shot wasn't going to be heavy enough to maintain its energy at distance, whereas the buckshot would. Still couldn't do a lot of distance, but back then you didn't have to you could stalk better than today, because the deer population is different today than it was then. As a matter of fact, when I was in Hawaii a few years ago, somebody introduced white-tailed deer to Maui.
Yep.
And they weren't supposed to. So you can hunt them year-round.
Nice.
But only during the day.
That's the best.
And this is the best, though. Our guide said, and guess how long it took the deer to figure that out? So, and hunters do know this. Animals are smart. They figure out, if Jerry went over here and he got shot, and Bob went over there and he got shot, I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
Hey, these deer get killed by these weird things that walk around on 2 legs during the day. Let's just only feed at night.
Smart.
There's no wolves around, so who cares?
The flip side, of course, is when you're hunting things at night, it is much easier to accidentally hit something that is not your intended target.
Yes.
So. Night
hunting is very, very, very rare. Most places don't allow it. Some places do, but the smart hunters literally have night vision that they use. Yeah.
That's good. I always ran into when I lived up in Vermont, I had a horse, and he was, especially in the wintertime, his coat was very deer colored. And so wearing a protective vest and even putting one, protective gear on him as well was very, very important during hunting season.
That's a good idea.
Otherwise, yeah. And we actually, so I had our dogs had this wonderful dog named Zeus, a total moron, just like Han. And but he was a great dog, Bernie's mountain dog. He would come along with us, not very deer colored, mostly black, but even so, he would just, be following along with the horses and kind of taking off through the woods sometimes after deer. We would actually some cute pictures. We would put, a reflective, a vest for a person. We would put it on him to make sure he didn't get shot either.
Yeah. By the way, just to flip back on the overkill thing with 45, I was going to say 45 is not required. That's the myth that I hear usually. But if people are saying it's overkill, my question is, the first thing I would ask them is the recoil too much for you? Is that it? Because usually when I might meet people who don't like 45s, my dad was one of them. He'd be like, oh, it kicks so much and stuff like that. And I'm like, Dad, Ashley likes shooting 45. She's a 5'5" woman. You're 6'2" like me. What's your excuse here? What do you mean it kicks too much? She doesn't seem to think so.
There you go.
So again, and this is going to be, I'm being very fair in saying that, for some, if for self-defense, you shoot straighter with a 9, shoot the 9. It's much better to be more accurate.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp once got asked how important it was to be fast, and his response is fast is fine. Accuracy is final.
Yeah.
So if you have a 45 and, a 30 round clip, which is ridiculous, but on a 45, but you're hitting all over here, it doesn't do you any good. But if you've got a 9mm and you can put 5 right here, that's better than having the 45 and not being able to hit anything.
Absolutely.
So to answer James Dugan's question, I don't know.
Hocticus said no with a question mark. So
I would think you'd have to shoot a lot of slugs. Because typically when a barrel wears out, it's going to be because the rifling gets worn out.
Yeah.
And typically it's going to be tens of thousands of rounds in a handgun, and a shotgun, I would assume it'd be at least 8 to 12,000, somewhere in there, I'm assuming. I know high-powered rifles, it will be like 8,000 rounds because it's much higher velocity. There's a lot more friction.
Yeah.
But one of the other things, going back to some safety, I think the biggest thing that's very important to learn is, number one, don't ever point a gun anywhere that you don't intend to actually shoot.
Yeah.
This is the quickest way to avoid problems. When people have what we call a negligent discharge, which means not that you're being stupid, but perhaps you've ignored something, or you're just not making it, paying attention the way you should. If your gun is pointed downrange and it goes off accidentally, the bullet goes downrange. So the bullet goes where it's going to be safe. Nobody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So I have seen cases like that where someone's pointed downrange, they have a negligent discharge. Everybody's safe. They're just surprised.
Yeah.
But that beats, you just shot somebody in the arm.
No, it's definitely something you like.
The other thing is to, and I want to be real clear about this. Everybody says, always treat a gun like it's always loaded. And I think that's good. But the more important point of it is always treat a gun like it's always loaded until you have verified for yourself it is not. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. And that is, I'm just going to grab Sarah's, I'm just going to grab the wife's Glock 17. So if this gets handed to me, the first thing I'm going to do is drop the magazine. And then I'm going to open the chamber so that I can actually look inside and see that there is no round there. And so, and actually the one thing I will say is that Ashley's always been very good about this ever since I've known her. Anytime I hand her something, that's the first thing she does is to check it. And this is a good way because while I don't think I would ever hand a loaded firearm to somebody without having the action open first.
Yeah.
People forget, people have bad moments. It's better to just, even if they hand it to you like this, okay, yeah, it's clear. But this is the reason
someone should hand a gun to you after you're done with that.
Oh, sure. But again, that's just so that, I can make sure it's safe. So at this point, and I'm going to do this, but like when people say, well, you never point a gun at yourself. I'm never going to point a gun at myself. But if my hand goes in front of it, I feel comfortable at this point because I have actually verified the gun is unloaded. So as far as how to hand it to somebody, I always say hand it open. So that, number one, you've checked it. They can take it right here. They can check it. And it's just, this is the best way to know that the firearm is safe.
Okay, so the main thing is just to, because when you hand someone a knife, you hold the blade as you hand it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you hold it as long as it's open and empty.
Preferably not pointed at anybody, I would say.
Right. The way I would do it, and again, I'll just kind of hold it up. So I would handle first kind of like with a knife.
Okay.
Or, or like this. I would not definitely do that. That would be very dangerous and very stupid.
That would be probably very upsetting for somebody.
Right. The other thing is trigger discipline. This is where your trigger should be unless you're actually about to shoot. Mm-hmm. You can actually put it down here if you want, but you don't want your finger in the trigger guard unless you're about to shoot. Because here's the thing. If I trip and I fall like this, my finger is not on the trigger. Chance of it going off, practically non-existent. I do this, there's a good chance. I mean, the first thing people do when they try and fall is, put their hands out, they try and grab.
Whoops.
Yeah. And if it's loaded, you may have just killed somebody. So not a good thing.
Is it a higher percentage of people who accidentally shoot themselves or accidentally shoot other people?
I'm not sure on that. I would assume it's probably shoot themselves. Okay. And that's just based on all the YouTube videos I've seen of people actually shooting themselves. Which is, I'll put it to you this way, it's not funny. There are just sometimes it's kind of like I'll put it to you this way. I think some people might laugh at it. For me, I'm literally doing this. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
I also do recommend these. These are snap caps. Basically, they're dummy rounds. You can pick them up in pretty much any caliber. The idea is that you can actually safely run training without actually having to worry about live ammunition. So for example, if you wanted to teach somebody how to clear a jam, let me see if I can try and do this here. I'm forcing this to happen though. You're at the range, you got this. Whoops. What do you do? That's how you can teach someone how to clear it, is by using something that's a dummy round so that it's safe. Again, you're not playing with live ammunition. There's no chance somebody's going to set the gun off.
What would it's called a snap cap?
Yeah.
What would one of those do? Like if you accidentally shot it, would it just like be a blank?
It doesn't even have it. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. There we go. There's a little plastic button there.
Uh-huh.
And essentially the firing pin's just going to strike that, and there's a spring inside, and it's just going to kind of bounce back. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They're also good if you are someone who likes to train with trigger discipline as far as pulling the trigger properly. These are good because, again, if you dry fire a gun too many times, you can damage the firing pin. It can happen. Some of them it's more of a concern than others. For example, anything that's a 22 long rifle, don't do that. But if you have snap caps that are designed to handle the firing pin striking them, then you're safe. So, it's not damaging the firearm. So that's good. And I dropped one here, so I'm going to have to find that later.
Sadness. Hi, Spush. You're hungry, aren't you?
I was going to say, I know what that look means.
This one, you're talking about your dogs and like 3 hours after, This one, it's like he eats his food immediately after. Hi, where's more food? Immediately. It doesn't matter. Especially, and one of his things, and he's just not very bright. So one of his things is, because depending on the day, I'll shower before I feed them sometimes. Sometimes I shower after I feed them. If I shower I could have fed them and then got in the shower immediately after. When I come out of the shower, this asshole will be in the bathroom meowing at me for more food, even if he finished breakfast 2 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not on my neck the whole time I was in the bathroom. Look at the picture I sent you.
Oh, I'll check it out. Oh, God.
Get off of me.
That's hysterical. Oh,
so one of the things I was going to show kind of some of what we call the manual of arms. Basically what it means is how a gun works, the safety, the trigger, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I will kind of, this is being technical, I'll admit. This is not a clip. This is a magazine. I know that sounds like I'm being technical, but when people are saying like, I've got 15 in my clip, you've got 15 in your magazine. Because clips are different. I actually don't have one on me, but a clip is literally it's a little piece of metal that holds rifle rounds in it. They used to use them in World War II and World War I, so that you could put it on the loading section of your rifle, push down, and then close the bolt, and you would load much quicker. Mm-hmm. So magazine. Anyway, so modern firearms are all going to be, well, not all, but most modern firearms that people use self-defense are in fact semi-autos. So I'm using Ashley's here. The biggest thing you need to know about it is just the specifics of how your gun works. Every gun is a little different. So the Glocks are pretty straightforward. Here I'm going to flip this around so you can see it. This is a slide stop. And the idea there is that that holds the slide open. So when you want to open one, you actually will just kind of, holding this a little awkward, but you will push that up as you pull the slide back. The other thing is safeties. Now, this is one where I'm just going to say it before anybody asks. This is a Karen thing. There's no safety on this gun. None. And a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't sound very safe. My response, well, for who? It's safer for you to not have it. If you have a safety, it's more likely that you're going to have it on when you need to use the gun, and it's safer for the criminal.
Yep.
So I am not a fan of exterior safeties. They also catch on things, which I don't like. But to bring in kind of a different type of semi-auto, this is also one that's actually, I'm sure you've heard of it, the 1911. Mm-hmm. This is this one's a 45. This one does have a safety on it, but again, it's very similar in the sense that, it locks open with your slide stop. Now, unlike the Glock, it has an actual external hammer. So when you pull the trigger, it releases the hammer onto the firing pin, and there is a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. It's left hand, right hand accessible on the safety. So the biggest thing that I will say is, as far as safeties go, for 1911s, I actually kind of like them because they're right here. So being right-handed, I'll kind of show you, if I'm going to grab and use it, it's right where, if I'm here, I can change it on and off.
Nice.
So, put that down real quick. As far as really what the right caliber is or the right gun, that's a difficult question because it's going to come down to you as an individual. Yeah, ambidextrous safety. That's what I was looking for. Superfan Shawhan. Yes, old school Jeremy got it perfectly. I will say that with a 1911, if you're going to carry it for self-defense, I would recommend an ambidextrous safety, just because even though you may be right-handed, if you end up getting hurt, now you can move it easily with your left as well.
Oh,
that's what we call that's a traditional hammer fired gun. This is what we call a striker fired gun, because there's a striker in here that when the gun gets cocked, the trigger will release a spring and the striker moves forward, and you can hear that little click. That's just all that is. I brought those two up because these two are the most notorious for having what I call the fanboy crowd. There are people who say, if it's not a Glock, it's complete crap, and why are you shooting anything else? That's not fair. Maybe in 1982, when they first came out, they were more reliable than everything else on the market. These days, there's a plethora of excellent firearms made by excellent companies that work very well.
What are some others that you would recommend?
Smith & Wesson is an excellent one. Let's hear Smith, H&K, or Heckler & Koch. Let's see. I already mentioned Glock. Springfield Armory. Beretta actually does make some very good firearms. As far as the best, I'm not going to say they're not, but I'm just going to say that there's good reason for that argument. But again, everybody's going to have their preferences, and I'll tell the story. And this is important for us fellas. You guys think you know what's right for your woman. You're wrong. I'm telling you now, you're wrong. She knows what's right for her. And this is a perfect example.
And that
when
applies
Sarah,
to the bedroom as well.
What's that?
I said, and that applies to the bedroom as well.
I love you so much.
I'm going to say actually yes. If you've got ears, fellas, use them. They're very helpful. But when I first was trying to find a self-defense firearm for Ashley, I actually was like, well, I think she'd like this, and I think she'd like this, and I just showed her the stuff I thought she would like. We ended up settling on a Springfield Armory XD with a 4-inch barrel, and she never shot it, and she didn't really care for it. A few years later, I said, maybe we should get rid of it and find something else. I think you'd probably be, and again, here I go, being the stereotypical guy. You've got smaller hands than I do, so maybe you'd like the Glock 19. It's the compact. It'll be easier. So we go and shoot it, and she doesn't like that. And then we shot a few more things, and she goes, I really like the Glock 17. And again, this is again, just holding it up. This is a full-size pistol. This was bigger than the one I thought she would like, and I thought she wouldn't like it because it was big. And lo and behold, she felt comfortable with it. She felt it was easy to use. She felt she was accurate with it. So We traded in her XD. We got her the 17, and the day I knew she was really into it and really liked what she had was I was running some errands, and I said, hey, I'm going to stop by a local gun shop. I need to pick something up. And she said, okay. So while I'm getting up to the counter, Ashley was looking at something, and I'm not paying attention. And all of a sudden, I just hear this sound right next to me. And I look over, and there's a package with this pink hoe grip that she had put down. And she looks up at me, and she goes, is that okay with you? And I went, yeah. If you like it, that's fine with me. I mean, you're going to be shooting it. So my advice is, if you want to know what's best for your wife, take your wife with you, take your girlfriend with you, let her handle the firearm. She knows what's comfortable. She knows what's going to be good. If you can rent them so you can find out which one she likes to shoot best, the best person for her to make that decision is her. She knows better than anybody else.
See, this was your first mistake, though, is assuming that, she wanted something small. Women like bigger, we were really into bigger. So.
Oh, I know. No, I'm just kidding.
Big, thick, I think you got the right idea with the big bore. So.
Exactly. Oh, I've had numerous times people are like, oh, so this is the small penis channel.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Nah.
Now, ironically, if you're going to carry, that's Ashley's home defense gun. This is her concealed carry.
Cute.
This is a Glock 43. It's the same caliber. It's a 9mm. And she was wonderfully taken with the color. It's kind of hard to show. It's kind of a Tiffany blue.
Ooh. Oh, I love that.
Whoa.
That's actually one of my favorite colors.
And so this is another case where one of the things that I actually shared with Ashley when she started showing me the colors is when they first, honestly, go back to the 90s when I was still young, but getting into shooting. And I would have thought, if we make firearms that are Tiffany blue and pink and purple, I think women are going to be offended, like we're pandering to them. Short answer, we were so wrong. I see a lot of women who really do like just a bit of color. And my response, and what's that?
Color's fun, says the girl who only wears black.
But the thing is, it is one of those things, once again, don't assume, ask. A lot of ladies like having a little color. And the one thing I do like about the firearms industry is they're very customer focused. So there we go.
It's very true.
It also makes the gun that color. Yeah.
Once they learn that this is what they want, they're like, okay, well, we can do that. And so you actually can find a lot of different firearms in different colors and stuff like that. If that's your thing, hey, great.
I have a question. So
yes.
On a lot of casting, wait, what is that sound?
What sound?
There was like a weird echo. On a lot of casting, there is calls for people who can be in a scene and handle a gun and all that. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I want to learn how to use one, just so if I'm ever on set, I can be safe, and also I could be comfortable with it. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then it's gonna show on camera, and you could hurt someone or fuck yourself up or something. So, how would someone like me, who's like, I just want to learn how to stage guns, how would I teach that?
I'm going to encourage you to do what Keanu Reeves did for the John Wick movies. He learned how to do a competition called 3-gun. And basically, you have to be able to handle a shotgun, a pistol, and a semi-automatic rifle. And so then when he goes on to John Wick, he actually knows how to do this stuff because he's done it for real life. Now, I'm not suggesting you got to go out and buy a gun, but, you can take training courses. Most firearm stores do offer them.
Okay.
And I will tell you one thing that may come surprising, but in the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen a big movement of seeing a lot more women who want to get into self-defense shooting. And the overwhelming response from the firearms community has been, this is fantastic. Ladies, welcome. Please come join us. Mm-hmm. So it's not, a lot of people think you're going to run in and it's going to be these big burly guys. Not true. Guys are usually thrilled. We're thrilled to see that women wanting to learn more. I will tell you one thing that people behind the camera won't make fun of you for, Hadass, but I will rip you for personally. And I will give you an example, and that's teacupping. This is teacupping. That's where you hold your gun like this, like a teacup. because this, when the gun recoils, it does nothing to help. This does nothing. This is why we make fun of it. You should have your hands like this. You know, your hands are together so that if it recoils, you can handle that.
Now, if I teacup, but like, you know, with pinky out, would you make fun of me? Like that's very proper.
I'll put it this way: the last time I saw someone in Hollywood getting made fun of teacupping, it was Kelly from Armed and Feminine who was making fun of Matt Damon in one of the Bourne movies.
Ha.
She goes, "Check it out! Look, they make all this money and they still don't know how to properly hold a pistol."
Huh.
I also will tell you, a lot of people know what they know about firearms from TV and movies, and all I have to say is,
wrong, right?
Oh, it is so wrong. It is literally like saying, well, you know, if you practice, you can be as good as Legolas at sword fighting. Yeah, no, that's fantasy.
But he's so good at the dual swords. I'll fight you for that.
Yeah. But in serious, I've seen so many things where I'm like, that's not how this works. As a matter of fact, one of the ones that kind of ticked me off recently was the 1984 trailer. I don't know if you saw. So the gun's like this, and you see Wonder Woman grabs a gun and goes like that to eject a bullet. But the thing is, another one just got loaded in, so you did nothing. What the hell was the point of that? Oh, it looks cool on camera. There you go.
Maybe it was the last bullet.
Yeah, well, if that's the last bullet, that guy's not carrying a lot. It just, you get what I'm saying.
I try to learn.
So, one of the other things I wanted to show, and this is also, so this is a more modern, this is a double action revolver. This one is a 357.
That looks intense.
It is. This one's really more meant for handgun hunting and target shooting. Hence why, as you can see, it's actually got vents on here. This is designed to reduce recoil. Oh. And it does work. It's actually pretty cool. But one of the things I always like to point out to people when they're like, well, your Glock has no safety. Yeah, neither do revolvers. And they never have. Mm-hmm. So calm down. Again, stop being a Karen. It's okay. And as you can see, I've got this actually loaded with, this might be hard to see, snap caps in there as well. And again, this is just how you can have, you can practice loading, you can practice reloading, but you're not putting yourself at risk with real live ammunition. You're using something that's designed for safety. So, but one of the things I also wanted to show is just, again, a manual arms. We call this a double action because in the old days, the single action meant you had to pull the hammer back and then release the trigger, or release the hammer by pulling the trigger. Well, this one will actually pull the hammer back and release it at the same time. That's why it's called a double action. Now, an example of a single action, Jesse, you're going to be happy about this, would be a Blackhawk.
Yay.
So this is actually a Bisley version, which is just the grip style. But this is a single action revolver where the trigger will not work until you pull the hammer back and then it releases.
But then you can fire it cowboy style, which, as my friend explained to me, is really stupid and ineffective. But you can do that, and it's super fun. It is fun to just launch off around, just like.
How have you not made a cowboy movie? Because that's your favorite era.
That's true. I would if
that reminds me, Jeff. How have you not seen Tombstone?
I didn't grow up with people that liked westerns, so it's on Plex. I'm gonna watch it soon.
Yeah. Well, Dion likes westerns.
Yeah, but Dion in college wasn't watching quality films. He was watching bullshit. Don't listen to what he says on the show.
Definitely porn.
He was watching a lot of porn, and he was playing video games all the time. We didn't even have time to watch movies.
Because they were too busy watching porn and playing video games.
We never watched porn together. We watched The Room.
They were too busy watching The Room over and over again and playing video games.
I'll share a quick funny story just because you mentioned that. When I was in college, I was walking down the hall one day, coming from my buddy's room, going back to mine. As I'm walking past a room, I hear moaning sounds.
Oh, God.
But here's the thing. Normally, if you're in a college dorm, this may happen, but usually the door is closed. Mm-hmm. The door was wide open.
Oh, dear.
So as I'm like, what the hell is going on? And as I walk up, it's two guys who are at the desk of one of the dorms watching porn on the computer.
Why?
I don't know, but I was so here's the funny story.
Wait, one was at the desk watching porn.
No, they both were. They're both like leaned over the desk looking at the computer, like. And I'm just like, what? First of all, why are you doing this together? Why is the door open? But the best part of this story is what happened next. So, because I stopped to stare at this like, a car crash. It's like, I have no idea what I'm seeing. Why is this happening? So I don't want to get too graphic here. But let's just say things went on the screen from a slow pace to a really fast pace very quickly. And it was the auditory reaction from not the lady, but the gentleman.
Oh, God.
And so if you can imagine, I stop as this guy's like, just like, and this is where it became a problem for me because I went like this. And of course, their heads go to swivel and I'm like out of there running down the hall.
Nobody saw this. Nobody saw this. Oh,
the only thing more awkward is than walking up on two guys watching porn together through an open door is they turn around and see you watching them. So I ran. I was like, I don't want, no. But it was the weirdest thing. I first, like I said, I walk up and I'm like, what the? And then that happens. I start laughing. I have to run.
Once in college, I walked by a room with an open door full of people who were on acid watching lions kill things on the, on some Animal Planet channel. It was fascinating. It was a time to be alive. That was actually, oh my God, the sex themed party. Why can't I remember what it was called now? It was fuck. I don't remember what it was called anymore, but it was this house hosted dressed, of course, it was called Dress to Get Laid. They had the Dress to Get Laid party. It was very on the nose. The unspoken rule was that upperclassmen weren't supposed to bang freshmen until the Dress to Get Laid party. So it's a rite of passage as a freshman to go try to get laid, which was a lot easier if you were a guy because we were like 80-20 male to female about. Probably like a little less, maybe like 75-25. And like half of those guys were gay. So it was much easier for the men than for the women. But this party, they just posted, like, they just had printouts of naked women all over the walls, and they just projected porn on the ceiling all party. It was very exciting. In fact, this might have been the same party where I walked by the room full of people doing acid. So
my freshman year in college, the guys had it easy because it was 75% female for our freshman class.
Nice. Yeah.
And so all of us guys were just basically like,
that was my sort of philosophy at Bennington was like, if you're not getting laid, if you're a straight man and you're not getting laid, you're doing this wrong.
So, which remind me when we go to do Mad Libs later, I actually wanted, my brother and I have a running joke that we've had since The Phantom Menace. And that is, me and some of my friends and my brothers, we always got a kick out of the fact how the adult industry will make parodies of real films with really bad names. So if I don't know if any of these are going to ring a bell, but these are not fake or made up. These are real. There is Jurassic Pork. Instead of the Terminator, it is the Penetrator.
Oh, God.
And I'm trying to think, what was the other one? Oh, the Bear Winch Project.
Oh, God.
I've seen that.
Guys, we mustn't forget about Edward Penis Hands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. There's also Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Balls.
I've heard of that one.
And Whore of the Rings.
Oh, God, of course there is.
I remember during the 2009 elections, they were making porns about the VPs. There was and Nailing Biden.
There was what?
They were called Nailing Palin. It was called Riding Biden.
Now, I always thought that the Johnny Depp movie Blow, it's like you don't even need to change this name here. That movie writes itself.
There you go.
But so
how they don't even change the names anymore. They'll just call it Captain Marvel, a XXX parody.
Ha!
Yeah, there's an Avengers porn parody called The Avengers.
Come on, where's the ingenuity there, But no, so I came up with this years ago because we always would make fun of other movies. Wait, what was that?
The Curious
Anus.
Oh, here's another great one. Yeah, chat. Give us your best porn parodies, real or fake. I had a friend in college who was obsessed with trying to make Shakespearean plays into porn. So Coriolanus became Glory Hole Anus. That was a good one.
So I have the entire Star Wars saga for you.
Yeah.
So it's not Star Wars, of course. It's Sex Wars. What else would it be? So we'll do the episodic titles first. The first one is the one I'm probably most proud of because I made this one up myself, and that's the Pantsless Menace.
Yes.
Then we have episode 2, Attack of the Boned.
Nice.
Episode 3, Revenge of the Prick.
Ah!
Episode 4 is A New Chode.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Luke. No one can give that guy a break.
Yeah. Episode 5, The Vibrator Strikes Back.
Oh God.
I just said.
Episode 6, Return of the Gigolo.
Oh.
Episode 7, The Fist Awakens. Episode 8 is The Last Spread Thighs. And episode 9 is Rise of the Cock Ring.
Yes.
Now, the other two, we of course, because we've got Rogue One and Solo, so it's Choked on One, a deep throat story,
Yes.
and Hand Solo, a hand job story.
Nice.
And it's starring Han Solo and his pal Bear Backer
Yes.
as they fly through space on the Perineum Falcon.
Oh, I love it.
A New Hope.
Oh my God. I mean, we could change Rise of Skywalker now because of Mad Libs and just make it Rise of Wiener Walker.
Yeah, that works perfectly.
Rise of Wiener Walker. It's it's the best Jedi ever.
Mhm.
Luke Wiener Walker and his father, Anakin Wiener Walker, as we had in another one of our stories.
His father was wrong.
There you go, Wiener Walker, like this.
Oh, and apparently their adopted granddaughter, Ray Wiener Walker.
Ray Wiener Walker. There you go. She
She's not
wanted.
even adopted. She's just like, that's my name now.
She really wanted exactly. She wanted to be a Wiener Walker.
Now I know.
Well, and see, I think if you're going to be a Wiener Walker, though, she has to be brought into the family the right way, which is pick an arm.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely. She has way too many limbs to be a Wiener Walker.
that's
You
what my
can't be a Wiener Walker with all 4 limbs. That's not fair.
You can't. It's that's just that right there is ableism. So
Mhm.
I do like Revenge of the Clit. That's a good one.
Well, you got to watch Zach and Miri make a porno because they do Attack of the Brown, Return of the Brown Eye.
This is just that conflict. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Oh
Ding
God.
dong, motherfucker. Ding dong.
Thank you, Beth. Beth is responsible for both Wiener Walkers. So thank you. Beth.
This is true.
Oh God. I guess we should get back on track for a little
Sorry.
bit. That's fine. No, it's fun. This is what this is about. This is what this is all about. If you want, we can also just jump into Mad. We got people yawning everywhere. We can jump into Mad Libs and always just bring you back for more gun safety.
Well, let me ask right now. I'm just going to throw it open to questions to the 3 of you and anyone in the chat, like where I can help. Like if you have, especially like Hadass had questions about like how can I get introduced to it. The best way, really, in my opinion, is if you know somebody you trust.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the reasons why Ashley, at first, you know, she had the same impression. It's like, this thing is dangerous. This thing is, you know, frightening. But, you know, I was able to kind of work with her on safety, proper handling. And the best thing, too, is that it's like if you learn the right stuff, you also learn even when things go wrong, what to do. There was a point where I had gone to use the restroom when we were at the range. Ashley had a jam. And she was just being honest. She didn't know how to clear it. So she put the firearm down, pointed down range, and she walked over and got one of the range attendants and said, "Can you help me? I need to clear a jam." And he came right over and helped her out. No big deal. But again, it's that idea that even when things go wrong, you know what to do, which is, you know, point in a safe direction. You go find someone for help if you need it.
I have an idea. I think it's inspired. I said when this is all over, that the 3 of us take a road trip and Sean can teach us about good gun safety and whatnot.
Sure.
Document it for our channels.
Sure.
Or
I'd
I
love to.
very clumsy.
That's okay.
Good luck.
No, I'm serious when I say this. I have just the firearm for you.
There you go. It's Peg.
Well, and also Glocks are kind of idiot proof. Here's the reason. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe in kind of fanboyism. Like I said, you know, people are like, oh no, if it's not a Glock, it's crap. And then you have the other crowd who are like, oh, if it's not a 1911, it's crap. No. There's nothing wrong with, you know, if it's a well-built firearm by a reputable company, you're fine. But the thing I like about Glocks in particular is there's not a lot on there to worry about. There's not an external safety. And the firearms are very safe. I'll put it this way. If you're a klutz and you're worried about dropping the firearm, you will meet like all of the presidents who have ever lived, living and dead, before you make one of these go off by dropping it. So that's one of the things I do like about a Glock. They're very safe. That and that easy to field strip it.
That was
Hey,
quick.
wow.
Yeah.
It just went away and now it's in pieces.
Well, and even better, one of the reasons that they don't have a lot of problems is, if you've ever met an engineer, they'll tell you simple is the way to go. Even the Beretta M9 that was in use with the military for the better part of, I think, 3 decades, that actually, no, you can throw it against the wall. They used to do that as a demo in Austria with Glocks. They would literally load one in the chamber, throw it against a wall.
Wow.
They would drop it out of a helicopter.
Ha!
They would freeze it. And then just literally, bang, shake off the ice and go fire.
Wow.
I'm not recommending doing any of these things, but
What if you submerge it?
a Glock will fire underwater.
Dang.
Not that it'll do you a whole lot of good because the water is much thicker, but the one thing I like about Glocks is, okay, so the Beretta was like 65, 66 moving parts. 34.
Wow.
So there's a lot of truth in that. They're durable. The thing I like about them is there's not a lot of parts. They're easy to completely disassemble. I could probably, if I had, and all I'd need for tools is I need a punch, a pair of needle nose pliers, and a flathead screwdriver. With those 3, I can completely disassemble the firearm in under a minute.
Nice.
So that's kind of why I like them. It's just they're easy for me to use. They work, and that's the thing. They're not. I wouldn't call them the best at anything necessarily, but they work without fail. And because they're so easy to take apart, I can work on it mostly by myself. So that's why I like them. But
So, have you read The Most Dangerous Game Ever Played?
No.
Okay. It is a book and I think a movie adaptation about rich people hunting humans.
It's just called the Dangerous Game.
Now,
Yes, I'm aware.
what gun would you recommend for a situation like that? Like if you're alone on an island, you're rich, and you
hunt
want to hunt humans.
Flamethrower.
It's a good option. I really kind of don't want to think about hunting other people.
But if you had to, because you were Hadassah and you were insane, and it was the only way to make you happy.
Are my options limitless?
Yes.
Well,
Don't answer that. I don't want anyone to get any ideas on this chat.
no, it's okay. Actually, I'm going to throw this open to you guys. Tell me what you think. I wanted to do this, and then I was like, you know what? I have a real bad feeling people would misinterpret what I'm doing. But I think we've all seen Deadpool.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh, come on. You guys.
I haven't seen any of the, other than Black Panther and Hulk, I haven't seen any of the superhero movies.
So you haven't seen the best ones.
You haven't.
Jeff, back me up on that.
You not saw Iron Man? What is wrong with you? We need to fix some of this.
And not Infinity War or Endgame?
No.
I'm not saying
Do you
need to
know what a
fix
Thanos is?
Oh, what?
Thanos. I do love me some Thanos.
I've heard of a Thanos.
Thanos is you need to know about Thanos. He's one of my celebrity crushes.
Well, he's CGI, so
It's fine.
There's a guy who has a channel called Kentucky Ballistics, and he got like a figure of Thanos and shot it with a 50 BMG rifle.
Nice.
Which was pretty fun.
So what was this revised idea that you were going to tell us about?
Okay, so there's a scene in Deadpool where there's 3 guys behind, 1, 2, 3 in a row, and Deadpool jumps up from behind a car. He shoots them in the head with a Desert Eagle, goes through one guy, second guy, and then it like sticks in the third guy's head. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't know that it would do that. I wonder if we could test that and then I'm like, no, people are going to get this really bad idea that I'm, sitting here going, so here's whether or not you can actually shoot through 3 heads.
This would be like, talk to Mythbusters and come on as a guest, It'd be like,
that still existed.
Right? They'd be like, we're going to do this as a...
I'm always curious about the Indiana Jones one where he shoots the 4 Nazis in a row.
That's what you
Nazis
should
in a row.
do. You should do like a Mythbusters segment on your channel, and then it will seem less weird that you're testing it, because it'll be very clear.
That's not a bad idea.
This is part of a segment where we, debunk movie gun stupidness.
I can kind of answer the Indiana Jones one.
Yeah.
Because
it's not no.
Actually, it's a yes.
Oh.
Because if I remember, he's shooting a Luger, and that's a 9mm. And back in those days, and even nowadays in the military, they just use full metal jacket rounds. 9mm, because it's got a good velocity on it, will be a good penetrator. And I think he shoots through like 3 or 4 people. And I do think if you shot them below the rib cage, it probably would go through. And this is based on what I've seen it do in ballistics gel. I actually do have ballistics gel for my channel. I just haven't put any of the videos up yet. And that's actually fun to do because it's really interesting to see what happens because, of course, it's supposed to simulate real human flesh. But naturally, this is a significantly less morbid way to do this.
I don't know. I think we just get a bunch of SJWs. No one will miss them. We'll alternate. We'll do SJW neo-Nazi, SJW neo-Nazi. It'll be great.
Stop.
I was
see a show called Deadliest Warrior.
Yes.
That was so cool because they use ballistics gel like every episode.
Yes.
The skeleton and the ballistics gel, they'd hack it apart.
Yes.
I love that show.
Oh yeah. Did you? I always remember the Spartan always won.
Yeah, I guess it was the 300 hype. People were just like, "Oh, Spartan."
There you go. You're right.
Ugh. Now that was
gonna,
a great show, though. Oh my
God.
God.
It was. I loved that show. Jeff, I was going to say if you want me to, if you send me a Rose Tico figure,
Yes.
I will strongly point out that I actually like Kelly Marie Tran, and I think she did a good job acting. I just think she got handed a shitty part.
I'm with you 100%. She did the best with the shit she got.
Now, do you want the 6-inch scale or the 3 3/4 inch?
Let's go 6-inch.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll shoot Jesse my address.
Or we can bring it out when we come.
Oh yeah.
It'll have to be because it's in Ohio. I'll have to have my either I'm going to go back home and send stuff out, or I'm going to just have my mom look in the office and.
I'm committed. We're for sure coming. This is happening now.
You know what we could do too is we could see like how many Rose Ticos we can get through with one bullet.
Yes.
I'll just bring out all of them.
That would be fun.
I have like 60.
Oh my God. We'll see how many.
Sent me
We'll see how
a
many
case
roses.
of 12.
Oh geez.
I have an interesting one for you. The most fun thing I've shot when I've gone out to the desert, because obviously you can't go to a range and be like, hey, I want to just shoot all these cans over there. You know, no, you just got to stick to paper targets. But I was really curious what would happen if I shot Spam.
Ha!
And so I bought 2 cans. I took one out of the can, and it just took chunks off as I was shooting it. And this was right after I'd gotten the Desert Eagle for the channel, so it wasn't too long ago. And unfortunately, I didn't get any good footage of it. I really wish I could. But then I shot it, as I put it, with armor, so in the can. And because of the pressure from the armor, that was like a friggin' 4th of July. It just like exploded and went everywhere. And I couldn't stop laughing for like 30 seconds.
Dude, that's awesome.
And Ashley's like, well, we can just leave it out here. The animals eat it. I'm like, do you want the animals to eat Spam?
Really? Yeah. Do you want to? I don't think we want. I feel like that's like the beginning of the animal zombie apocalypse. They eat.
Yeah,
Spam.
that's like torture there. Come on.
That's
Also, just like the bits of metal in there too.
That's
Exactly.
a good point on the vegans. If they want to save the animals, they can take the place of target practice. As everyone knows, I'm pro eating vegan because it's very healthy meat and vegan stuff. So how about this? We kidnap a vegan, vegan out to you. We practice shooting the vegan, and then we have barbecue vegan for dinner that night.
You lost me at the dinner.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not for the cannibalism part. Ironically, I actually saw on a forum recently that said it was a guitar forum, and somebody posted up and goes, well, if we're in quarantine long enough, that's how it started. And then you go inside and he's like, so who do we eat first? I was like, oh, shoot.
We eat him first. He's got the most meat on his bones.
Yeah.
Eat dinner for a few days. Flush. He's just sitting here, just so regal, like I'm a cat. Look at me.
What's really funny is Chili will do that. She'll sit on the couch and watch TV with me. And the funny thing is, like, I'll be sitting right here and she'll literally come up to me like this and then just like lean back like a kid and just watch TV like that. It's really funny.
I have a great picture of Shit Pancake sitting in front of the TV with his head cocked to the side, watching The Mandalorian at like 2 inches away.
That's awesome.
Yes. And
There's
is sitting at a reasonable distance watching it in the background.
I saw this on YouTube. Somebody captured a video of a cat watching like a motorcycle race, and the cat reaches up and tries to hit the motorcyclist, and right as he does, the motorcyclist crashed.
Amazing!
It was like, and I'm like, whoa, he's got Jedi powers.
Oh, that's delightful. Oh man. All right. Do you guys want to Schmad Libs it up?
Sure.
Sean, any final thoughts you wanted to share with us? I know there's so much to talk about. We got to just keep bringing you back to talk more about it. But darn, right? Darn.
You know, you guys aren't any fun or anything.
I know. It's not like we're the best people, ever or anything. So
I will say I was rather delighted last night. I was watching the show, and yeah, I will admit that I couldn't drink at the time, but it was fun to watch you guys do it.
Oh,
Well,
what a great night.
one of these times when we're not, handling firearms and whatnot, you'll come on and do a drunk stream with us.
Done. Done.
We'll definitely do one live when we come to, crash your home and shoot your guns.
Ashley was making margaritas earlier, and she's like, "Do you?" Never mind.
Never mind. You were.
I'm like, yeah. When I put them all away, then I'll have one.
Things that I will do, I shoot guns, not a thing drunk ever. Now, other things that you can do drunk with a much less increased risk of dying is riding horses, which I've done at least once, and using fencing weapons, which is probably not advised, but I've also done that more than once. We had drunk midnight practice once, and I decided to fence one of my students with my eyes closed, and I beat her. It was... Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was a terrible idea. There was also the year for Halloween where everyone was like, "What are you dressed as, Jesse?" And my answer was, "I'm being irresponsible." Because I wore my big red fuzzy pimp robe. I had a bottle of Manischewitz shoved in the pocket. In one hand, I had my fencing saber, and the other I had my bullwhip. And I went around hitting people with either one of those things, saying, "I'm being irresponsible."
Love it.
My Halloween costume that I'm doing this year is, let me show you this real quick. I have kind of thick hair. So if I take my hat off.
Oh, look at that. Look at that hair.
If I let it kind of get a little poofy, I kind of can imitate George Lucas pretty well.
Hey.
So I'm going to go around as George Lucas, but when I turn around, there will be a plastic knife in my back.
Yes.
And pinned to my back will be a note that says, "Thank you for giving me Lucasfilm. Love, Kathleen."
Nice. I love it. Just don't get near Anna because she might jump your bones. She's got a crush.
Oh, on George?
Oh, yeah. She's got a huge crush on George Lucas. He calls him a future husband. It's adorable. I love it.
That's awesome.
He's going to die soon.
It's fine. He's not going to die that soon. She's going to be his trophy wife at the end and inherit all the money. So I think
that means she might get the rights back.
Oh, my God. That would be awesome.
Can you imagine the great things that would happen in this world if Anna had the rights to Star Wars?
Yes. I think she would legally change her last name to that Star Wars girl at that point.
Yeah, and then I have a feeling she would be like, "All right, 7, 8, and 9 are not canon."
Yes,
they're officially fan films, and they are disgraced. That's I would even disown them. I'd be like, I don't even want royalties from these. What are you doing? Just keep talking. What are you doing?
Sorry, I was just reading some from somebody. Mark Krell. No, I agree. He was talking about the Indiana Jones shot again. You know. With the right type of bullet, I think it would be possible. So, aren't you thrilled, Jeff?
I am. I love Indiana Jones and the fact that certain things are accurate.
All right. So are you guys excited? Today's Mad Lib is the garbage shoot.
That's not what that says.
Jeff changed it to the poop shoot because he's very mature.
How dare you, sir?
All right.
All right. So, chat, if you haven't done Mad Libs with us before, you need a refresher. So, we've got 3 people participating. I'm not choosing things and writing them down. So, every 4th word we'll go through, Hadass, Sean, and Jeff. And every 4th word is going to go to the chat. And I'll let you know ahead of time what it is so you can prepare your suggestions. Chat. Oh, and if you get a super chat, it supersedes any other suggestions if it works in that next spot. If not, we find the next place that works and plug it in. So this is the garbage shoot or the poop shoot if you're Jeff. He's got his mind on it because that's what he's been doing all day.
Yeah, thanks, McDonald's.
Oh, we made bad decisions.
We should make more bad decisions.
We should not.
I don't want McDonald's.
Okay. So chat, you guys are gonna get a plural noun to start off with. So start suggesting your plural nouns. Sean, why don't you start us off with a noun?
A noun?
A noun.
Okay. Whiskers. I'm checking out your cat, so.
Nice. Singular, so we'll go with whisker. Hadass, you did a plural noun.
I'll say whiskers.
You said whisker. You're going with whiskers.
Yeah,
You're very boring.
I am.
That's fine. All right, Steph, you have a noun.
Welder.
Sorry, I just grabbed Elsa. She's the bearded one.
Oh, he's a bearded lady.
See?
Oh, she's got the beardy beard. Oh, she's so cute.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Elsa. Oh, we love you. Hi, Dimaj and I. We're playing this. Okay.
Star Wars Mad Libs.
And chat. We're plural noun. Zippers, nerds, bullets, cheesesteaks, Ewoks, diapers, guns. Let's see.
Diapers are always a good time.
Diapers. All right, we'll go with diapers. Diapers it is. All right. Chat, thank you for that. The next thing I'll need from you is an adjective. So prepare your adjectives. Speaking of adjectives, Sean, you get an adjective as well.
Adjective. Let's see here. How about sharp?
There you go.
Shark.
Excellent. Hadass, you get a plural noun.
Sharks.
Sharks.
Yes.
Nice. I dig it. That's perfect. All right.
Everything you're saying, John, and it's wonderful.
Well, he said sharp because shark isn't an adjective.
Oh, I heard
Sharks anyway, but I'm taking sharks, so that's it. Jeff, an adjective, if you please.
Rusty.
Rusty.
Rusty it is.
You know, I finally got Ashley to sit down and watch Jaws. She'd never seen the whole movie.
I love it, Jaws, so much.
And I've always described it as one of the few movies I can describe as perfect. Like it's done perfectly the way it should be. And
it really is.
The other day she was like, if you want to watch Jaws again, I'd like to watch it again. I'm like, see, I told you it was awesome. So
how do I feel about The Thing?
What's that?
The
Thing? Oh, The Thing is great.
It is a great movie. I enjoy it. Beth, thank you for the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I love it.
What type of word are we categorizing? Is that an adjective, a noun?
An adjective.
Yeah. An adjective? All right, that's our adjective.
James Baker says hubris, as in sheer fucking hubris.
Supercalifragilistic.
Just like Mary Poppins.
Expialidocious.
Mary Poppins could be a Jedi. She's got abilities.
Mary Poppins was a Jedi. We saw that in episode 8.
Yeah.
So she was. All right, so chat, the next thing I'm going to need is a noun. So if you can pivot back to nouns, that'll be the last thing I need from you tonight. So, all righty. Sean, a noun from you, please.
Let's do something from the 2A community on this. Butt stock.
You said butt.
All
right, Hadass, a plural noun, please.
Moose.
Beavis and Butthead was back in the day was so funny.
I still love that show.
Chef, an adjective.
Did you see moose or noose?
She said moose, I think, like the animal.
Oh, I have an adjective.
Yeah, moose is plural for moose.
I'm aware.
What's a good descriptor? Furry.
Hey Jeff, did you ever see the Beavis and Butthead where Beavis thinks he's pregnant?
No.
That is the best.
I'm writing that one down to Google it right now.
Yeah, it's called Pregnant Pause. He's up all night eating nachos and he gets a stomach ache and the TV's on and it flips over to someone who thinks she's pregnant because her stomach hurts.
I do know that one. I do know that one.
All right. Suggestions are wiener, Ewok, vodka, umbrella, alien, bottle, dildo, bucket of bolts.
You have to use dildo.
All right. Dildo.
Superfan Adam Shaw said moist muff.
Moist muff. Tire, catapult, fingertip. Fingertip's good too. I do enjoy all of your suggestions.
I like catapult.
We're a trebuchet channel.
It's true. All right. Sean, a verb ending in ing.
Well, let's go with my hashtag farting.
And Hadass, finish us off with an adjective.
Angrily.
Angry would be the adjective. Angry. All right, you guys ready for the poop shoot?
Yay!
The garbage shoot. Okay.
What's the difference?
Leia, Han, Luke, and Chewie were trapped on the Death Whisker.
Excellent.
Behind them was a dead end, and in front of them, Imperial Storm Whiskers. Leia thought fast, grabbing Luke's welder and blasting a hole in the wall, as one does with welders. The 4 diapers dove through, only to land in a garbage chute filled with sharp liquid and sharks. Oh no! Sharp liquid and sharks. They were safe from the stormtroopers, but there was one rusty problem. There was still no way out. Things went from supercalifragilisticexpialidocious to worse. When Luke was captured by a slithering buttstock. Just as Leia, Han, and Chewie freed him, the moose started closing in on them. It looked like they were going to be as furry as pancakes. When a dildo went off in Luke's head. He called C-3PO on his comlink. Thankfully, C-3PO figured out how to stop the walls from farting. What a close call. Too angry for comfort. Oh, God. This might have just been
I
don't know. Chunk droid coming a scrambled eggs.
I don't know, but sharp liquid and sharks?
Yeah.
Oh, sharp liquid and sharks, and the moose are closing in.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Furry as a pancake.
I was going to say, I actually haven't been up close to a moose in person, but have you guys?
No.
I've seen the pictures of like the walking near cars, and you're like,
They're
"Oh,
huge.
Video of the moose getting hit by a car.
no.
You want to watch it after
Does
this?
the car just go blue?
We'll watch it after this.
Can you show it to me?
I'll send you the link.
No. So the tomorrow night, guys, is gonna be our special Passover edition of this in honor of the second night. We might be a little, well, by that point we'll probably have sobered up because we'll have done Passover earlier and you'll have your show first.
I mean, we can
But
keep drinking through my show.
We'll drink wine in favor of Passover. I might start off the show tomorrow or do it early on. I might show you guys just a brief history of Passover. By brief, I mean 16 minutes of my drunk Passover video from last year.
I'm looking this up after I get off this live stream.
So if you haven't seen this yet, if you do Drunk Bible Stories Passover, you should find it. Or if you just do Drunk Passover Mindless Entertainment, you'll find it. And,
Jessica, I feel like you need to watch Prince of Egypt on a live stream with your fans. And just
maybe. Or the 10 Commandments.
Or both. I mean,
Or
Charlton
all of the
Heston,
above.
He played Moses, right?
Yeah, right.
Let my pigeons go. Sorry, I'm Family Guy reference.
Dear.
I always think of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Cameron was in Egypt's land.
So another supremely educational stream. We learned things. We had a blast.
No pun intended.
Ha! There you go. It's never intended because I hate puns.
Ashley loves puns. I do it just to get her to laugh.
My friends do it to annoy me, Hadass.
That's not very punny.
Get out! Get out of my house! But thank you, Sean, for coming. I get the feeling we're going to see more and more of you on this channel. I'm looking forward to that immensely.
Yep.
Thank you for being here, guys. If you are not subscribed to Big Boar Go Home, the link to his channel is right there in the chat. Make sure you give him a sub. Watch videos if you want to learn more about guns and watch him shoot cool stuff. He knows things. It's fun. It's great. It's a good time. And so
I made fun of Ryan Johnson in my last video.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that one.
That guy's a tool.
He is.
I was making a point about this one cartridge. I said it died a quicker death than my love of Star Wars after The Last Jedi, and I put up a meme, and it shows George Lucas, and it says, "Nobody will ever make more divisive Star Wars films than the prequels," and then it shows Ryan Johnson. It says, "Hold my beer," and right after I said this, I put writing on the screen, and it just goes, "Fuck you, Ryan Johnson."
Yes, my hero. You're the best.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys, for joining us again. Another fantastic stream. I had a wonderful time with both of you guys, as always.
Thanks for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
Of course, superfan Adam Shahan says, "Hold on, Jesse. For what am I holding on? I will hold on." I do want to see. Let's see. We have 98 likes. Let's get us to 100. Let's do that at least.
Let it to 100, you animals.
Thank you, Beast 1624.
Call him Superman. Adam Shahan.
Super fan Adam Shahan. He can be he's Superman to me. Superman Adam Shahan. Oh, we're at 100 likes. So that's
any man with 21 wieners is pretty super.
Absolutely. It takes a special
He has a
kind of-
life-size statue of the Joker in his office too.
That's awesome.
That's fucking great.
Not-
That is so great.
It's awesome. He's got some cool shit. You should get in contact with him. He's a fun dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Am I still holding on, or am
He's
I just holding on?
We're good.
So, all right, we're at 100. So we are going to. I'll say goodbye to you guys if you want to bounce out, because we're going to finish with our weird Corona kiss, which you probably don't want to sit here and watch.
Goodbye.
I can handle it.
If you want to stick around, you're welcome to stick around for a weird Corona kiss. Hadas doesn't want to, but
right hand. Say it does.
bye, Sean. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Here. All right, and thank you everyone else, and thanks from Frank and Deshaun Wiener Dog Clan. Ah, there you go. Deshaun, Frank and Deshahan Wiener Dog Clan. There you go. Brilliant. I'm glad I held on for that. I'm very glad. All right, so we're gonna Corona kiss song, and we're gonna weird Corona kiss, and we'll be and then yeah, good night, world. So here we go.